Crossover.
Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Crossovers powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Boys.
Yeah, it is. Hello.
How are you?
How we doing?
Just me and you and Josh.
Well, yeah. And Josh. Me.
That's all we need.
You and Josh.
Me, you, and Josh. Me, you, and... No, I can't really do that. You a freestyle rapper? Could you freestyle?
I don't think so.
What is a secret talent of yours? Do you have a party trick?
I on that subject, I definitely know like a lot of words to a lot of songs.
Okay.
I'm a pretty good karaoke guy.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty good
We got to do that sometime.
Pretty good karaoke guy. But like surprising, genres and stuff like that. I like to keep people on their toes.
You're the type of guy like at the party, like they're going through different genres on the aux, and you just happen to know all the words.
I got them all.
Songs.
I got them all.
Josh, what's your party trick?
Oh, wow. I didn't think I'd be included.
Yeah, of course. What are we doing here? You're Josh Hodson. Of course you're included.
You're Josh Hodson.
Wow.
What's the matter with you, Rock?
I know if you're watching a movie, I know what you know that guy from.
Okay. Are you a 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon specialist? Like,
Yeah.
if I gave you 2
Yeah,
actors or actresses, you could piece them together.
I could do that.
I know which 90s or 2000s comedy they're in.
Yeah.
That's my specialty.
That's a sweet spot.
Oh, what? They were in Rat Race? Awesome. I remember that movie.
See, I'm a sicko in the regard that it's just all sports all the time. So my party trick is I can name every NBA champion since 1980.
Have you ever seen the video of that guy? It was one of those stupid dudes with a tiny microphone on TikTok.
Yes,
And
I hate those with a dying passion.
So he shows
Well,
up
you're going to do some in June, so be careful.
No, am I really doing CWS tiny microphone
Just hang
stuff?
on. We'll get there. All right, hang on.
Oh no,
So
that's
he-
not in my contract.
So he just he shows up at an Alabama game or
Okay.
something like that, and he's at the tailgate.
Yeah.
And he's got this kid with him, and he's like, basically what you just asked us. What's your thing?
Yeah.
What could you do really
Yeah.
well? And he was like, you name any NBA player, I could tell you where they went to college. And then he named one NBA player, and he was like, and then he named a second NBA player, and the guy was like, oh,
yeah, that's tough.
He did it like 4 times in a row.
That's a tough one.
It was an incredible.
Wait, he did it 4 times in a row?
Yeah, he didn't know any of it. It was an incredible.
That is so good.
I am one to speak about overconfidence in myself and being able to do things. It was an incredible display of that.
1996. Try again.
But he made these noises. He's like, you stumped me on those ones.
You ever see were they hard ones too, or were they pretty
medium?
Did you know any of them?
Yeah.
Okay, that's bad.
Yeah. That was good.
Did you
But
ever,
bad for that guy.
Bad for that guy. Good for you.
Good for
Did you ever see the I think it was on early TikTok, a dude took he recorded all of his baby's sounds and then he remixed it into Thunderstruck.
Oh, nice.
So it was just the baby moaning and meh, meh, and it's like meh, 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 meh.
Yeah. That's cool.
That was one of my favorites.
I haven't seen that. Yeah, Amazing Daniel says I have an unreasonable knowledge of jersey numbers, historically speaking. Oh, that's good.
I'm terrible at jersey numbers. I've never been the jersey number guy.
I fell off. I mean, most of it is tied to Husker football. If you named a guy, I could probably tell you his jersey. But over the last couple of years, the jersey numbers and the people on the team, it's gotten
I don't
way
know,
out of whack.
The amount of times
Way
where
out
I
of
saw
whack.
7, and I was like, who that? Oh, Hartzog.
There was it was. I think the first time this has ever happened, in the bowl game, in the Pinstripe Bowl, a person on the Nebraska football team made a tackle, and I go, "Who is that guy?"
Yeah, was it Shavers when he had one on?
No, I know who Vincent Shavers is.
Well, I was so used to Butler having one.
It was Ochoa. And I was like, who is Ochoa?
Oh.
I've never seen Ochoa.
The greatest poll I've seen was we were in the press box for the Northwestern game. Nebraska when they blew them out. This was Heinrich Hart. So last year, or 2023, Nebraska game, and James Williams makes a sack. Okay, but no one knew who James Williams was at the time.
Yeah, right.
No one he came from JUCO or whatever. Not really known. Makes a sack, makes a big play, and everyone, I'm talking from Schaefer to BC,
Like
to
excuse me,
Sharp,
James
to
Williams.
Stukenholzer. Like, who is 90? Who the heck? Even Nate Rohr on the PA, it was a little bit delayed from him in terms of announcing who had the sack. And Michael Bruntz, without hesitation, just goes, yeah, it's James Williams.
Yeah,
This is where
Bruntz
he
is
came
good
from.
on that.
And I was just like, oh my God. It was impressive.
If you get Bruntz on like, mid 90s,
Bruntz,
just dudes, like random dudes, middle relief pitchers.
Bruntz is the
Husker
best
baseball player.
Bruntz is the best immaculate grid guy, I think, in Nebraska media.
Oh, interesting.
So Kevin Suits.
I wonder if I could give him a run for his money.
Kevin Suits, 1011 News is. I worked at 1011. I was an intern at 1011.
I haven't done the grid in a long time.
Yeah, you want to do it right now?
Kind of. Keep going. Say your story.
So I was Kevin Suits over at 1011 in Lincoln. I was his intern for a full summer. Okay. Kevin is a massive, like, niche baseball dude.
Yep.
Love the immaculate grid. And even months after I was done working for him, he would send me his grid or like his grid score or like different things like that. He was addicted to the grid. So we go to
I miss the grid.
Nebraska
we used to
media
grid all the time.
We go to like rural pressers, and Kevin's just doing a grid, right? And so Kevin would be like, "Hey, Bruntz, Orioles, Mariners," and just without hesitation, bang. Or like, "Hey, Bruntz, Nationals, Cubs." Goes, "Well, you can do Scarlett Castro, Alfonso Soriano, or if you want to, like just immediately."
All right. Diamondbacks Braves is top left today.
Okay.
Diamondbacks Braves.
Adam Jones.
Adam Jones.
I don't know.
Was not a Brave.
He was an air. He was a Diamondback though.
Adam Jones wasn't a Brave, right? Josh. I don't think Adam Jones
was Ozuna a Diamondback.
Marcel, he was a St. Louis Cardinal.
Yeah, but he was a Diamond. He was
definitely a Brave.
He was definitely
currently a Brave.
Jock Peterson.
For Braves.
Jock?
Oh, Jock was a Diamondback. Jock was a Diamondback. That's for sure. Guaranteed.
Let's look it up.
Was Jock a Brave?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was on the World Series team.
He was a big part of it. Didn't we trade him? Didn't the Cubs trade him, or did he come?
Pearls.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's guys like that who's like, oh, he played for 14 teams. Like Joaquin Soria is like a great immaculate grid guy.
Diamondbacks Rangers should be pretty easy.
2024, Jock Peterson.
Yeah, for sure.
Arizona
he played like barely any games.
Yeah. Let's go Jock here. Yep, 12%.
Yeah. I mean, Ozuna would be Atlanta, St. Louis for sure. You could do
yeah, we could well that would be a high,
it'd be very high.
You want to get your score down.
No, I know. I'm thinking.
I'm sure the YouTube comments will
I'm
probably
not good
help
with
us out on this one.
I mean,
it's not enough for Connor to just get the answer right. He has to get a good score.
Absolutely.
So
that's the whole point.
6+ WAR season for St. Louis. Lou Brock would be a good one.
Okay. All right. I bet that would probably be.
Yeah, put it in there.
I had no idea Lou Brock played for multiple teams.
Yeah, you're wrong. So good try. Now I lost the grid today.
What do you mean multiple teams? Lou Brock was a Cub and then he was a Cardinal.
Lou Brock was not a Cardinal.
Lou Brock was definitely a Cardinal.
Lou Brock is a Hall of Fame Cardinals
Lou
player.
Brock didn't have a 6+ WAR season.
That's shocking to me. And anyone who knows baseball would take it shocking that he never had a 6+ WAR season.
Let's see.
I didn't know what we were doing.
Lou Brock
is a Hall of Famer.
WAR. Do they do WAR for Lou Brock?
Maybe probably he doesn't have
no, he never had a 6 WAR season. His highest season was a 5.9.
Oh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's a joke.
Yeah, that's embarrassing for you, buddy.
That's incredible.
I mean, you could have gone with Albert Pujols.
Well, you want an 84%? You're. But Lou Brock, it's all about the score. It's all about the score.
Lou Brock's a Hall of Famer.
It's all about the score. Not only do I want to get it right, I want to get a good score.
If you were going to go with a Hall of Famer and you didn't know for sure if they had a 6 WAR season, then you probably just want to make sure you get it right first. We got to get it right, and then you go for the score.
Right.
So that's what I usually do when I do the
right.
grid. I come up with a guy who I know would fill out the list, and then you come up with a second guy who would be a better score.
Yeah, Diamondbacks Rangers is a weird one.
Diamondbacks Rangers.
So I know Chipper was a shortstop, but it's played second base.
Diamondbacks. He never played for either of those teams.
Who?
Chipper Jones?
No, I'm talking about played second base for Atlanta Braves. I know that Chipper was a short.
He was a third baseman.
He was a shortstop too.
He was a shortstop early in his career, I
Yes.
believe. Yes.
So when he was a shortstop, did he ever go over to second base?
Unlikely you could just take Ozzy Albies there.
But why? But you want a good score. You want a good score.
All right, I've already got this wrong anyway, so I'm going to type in Chipper Jones.
Okay.
And
I know he wasn't a second baseman.
Chipper Jones wrong.
Okay, I know he wasn't a second baseman, but like, you know.
Matt, you've ruined my grid.
That's not true.
You've already come up with Luke
wise
Rock and
things.
Chipper Jones.
We're trying to get a small score.
Yeah, well, you got to get the point, though, you know. It's called
If
immaculate grid.
we wanted to get all 9, we could get all 9.
It's called an immaculate grid. That means you have to guess them all right.
Here we go. I'll do it. Peterson,
All right, we don't have to play
Peterson,
immaculate grid on the radio.
Albies.
In January.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, what is going on MLB Network today?
Hot stove.
Sasaki watch.
He's whittling it down.
I've never seen anything like it. Where he's like he's like a bachelor, you know, where he's like giving out roses, where it's like Yankees, you don't get a rose.
That is exactly what they're talking.
You know,
Gee, I wonder
Blue Jays,
if he's
you don't
gonna
get a
go to
rose.
the Dodgers.
You know, I don't think he's going to the Dodgers.
You don't?
I don't think he's going to the Dodgers.
You could say any person, I'd be like, yeah, they'll probably play for the Dodgers.
Yeah, at some point in their career,
It's
the
like
Dodgers is
good.
probably the ultimate immaculate grid team. Like you could just put so many different dudes, so many different places when the Dodgers are on the grid.
Mm.
Okay, so you have any
guy, by the way, says Matt McMaster's magical mouth clearly doesn't apply to immaculate grid.
Oh,
Great.
And guys, if I wanted to get 9 for 9, I could get 9 for 9. It's about
You just
getting the
missed
low
2
score.
out of like 3.
Okay, so Lou Brock was 5.9 out of 6.
It doesn't
all right?
count.
And Chipper was a good idea.
Put the mic down.
Why?
Because it sounds horrendous.
It doesn't lift up properly.
I'm going to send an email to all the talent today. You don't have to touch the mics. Ever.
Look at this thing. What do you mean? It's droopy.
It is droopy. We have a droopy mic situation.
It's mushy.
Now, see, if we had a low T sponsor, we would be able to.
I would be the advocate for low T.
We have low T microphones.
Okay,
Both
so
microphone holders.
So I'm going to the Jays game tonight.
Yes.
You have any tips, tricks of the trade? Where to park? How early
Don't
should I
take that
get
one
there?
street.
What street should I not take? I have a parking pass included.
You do?
I do.
In the garage, I assume.
I will assume that as well. I don't know where my parking pass is, but
I assume if you're getting the new guy treatment that I got a couple of years ago, you're getting lovely seats
yes, I am.
and a lovely parking
Yes,
space.
yes, I am. I got both.
You guys got new guy treatment?
way.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was great.
Okay.
I got way too nice of seats
Interesting.
and a parking pass, which I never get a parking pass ever when I go to any.
Yeah, so
event.
it's in the garage. So
That's nice.
you don't even really need a jacket tonight.
Really,
I mean, if you're
because you
just
can
going-
walk over right from the garage, like straight.
it's inside. You don't have to ever step outside. If you don't want
Really?
to. And we already know that you keep your car behind
In a
guards,
gate- and
guards
yes,
and gates.
Yes, there
So-
are dogs and men and women with guns around my Mercedes GLE 350.
So if you don't want to, you don't have to go outside at all tonight. But I assume you'll probably imbibe afterwards because you are Matt McMaster.
I am.
All right. So you'll probably
am.
need a jacket.
I'm a big deal.
You probably need a jacket.
Look, I'm a big deal, man. I have a lot of leather-bound books.
You walk out, you step out, and you say, "The night's all mine. Where am I going tonight?"
Listen.
It'll be 9:30. I got a show in like 4 hours.
Yeah, let's party it up. Mo
Yeah.
and Curly's, baby.
I got a couple hours. Let's
Let's-
do this.
No, man. I feel bad for my friends because it must be tough being friends with me, a celebrity. You know, I was walking through Nebraska Furniture Mart. Someone came up to me and was like,
NFM.
"Oh, yes, NFM." I was walking through NFM, and someone came up to me. I was like, "Oh my god, thanks for listening." You know, I'm sure it's gonna be crazy at the game tonight. There's gonna be swarms of people just coming around to me. Matt,
They will.
autograph.
Oh, trust me.
I got pulled over by a cop, and he gave me a warning. And then at the end, he goes, "Hey, Matt, love the show, appreciate it." Then he's like, "Can you sign my gun?"
So if you if you
Can
get
you
in
sign my gun?
if you get in Jake Ryan's ear, then you can, when he does his 1620 The Zone local sports talk from 6A to 6P read inside the chai,
Yeah,
you could tell him the morning show with Gary and Matt McMaster, but especially Matt McMaster.
especially Matt McMaster. And I'll get up and I'll stand up and
Yeah.
I'll wave to
Yeah,
everybody.
we'll get a camera on you.
Yeah,
We'll do the whole thing.
Dude, I
could absolutely have this done.
I was so mad. I was so mad that Gary wasn't looking at the Jumbotron at the Omaha Mavericks game when I got in the air guitar cam.
You did?
Yeah, I was killing it. I was rocking it, dude.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was looking at Gary, And I was like, look up. And he never looked up. He didn't see me.
Maybe your row will be selected as the lucky row tonight.
Ooh.
You're the MC. Why don't I do can I do a game tonight?
I don't know.
Can I throw the disc or the frisbees? Or
I always tell the children who come up to me and say, "Can I get on camera?" I say, "I'm not in charge of that." But I kind of am.
But you kind of are.
I could be.
But you kind of are. You got a little pull. You got some pull, don't you?
I'm allowed some editorial responsibility. Some editorial responsibility.
Just be like, you see that good looking guy right there in the Tommy Bahama quarter zip?
Wow. Are you gonna get some Jays gear? Are you gonna get
so
gear?
That's a conversation that's being had. I don't think I'm ready for that yet. I think
interesting.
I think it's just kind of, I'm nothing against Creighton. I respect the heck out of the program. I've come on here and I'm very famously noted to be like not pro J Skur, but I don't have problems with being a J Skur.
Noted.
Mm-hmm. But I just, it's a different school. I'm just I'm a Nebraska grad, Nebraska alumni. That's where I came from.
I understand.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not rooting for Providence. Well, it depends on if I put a bet on Providence tonight. But I'm not rooting for Providence currently to win that game or in any way, shape, or form.
That's good. That's
so
a good step.
Good start.
Well, yeah. I mean,
so you're gonna wear you're gonna wear a quarter zip?
Yeah. It's just classic, kind of just gray, black quarter zip.
Cool.
Blue jeans. So
Creighton -9.5 tonight.
Yeah, it's a lot. I don't think I'm betting on that. But Rams money line yesterday.
It does seem a little hefty.
Rams money line hit yesterday, so I'm buying a TV set.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was one of the last remaining Vikings can pull this out, guys.
Yeah.
And
we had a heated convo.
Failed miserably.
In the first segment. It was actually a great segment about would you keep Sam Darnold or not, and what is the number. I said that I 3 years, $40 million.
3 years, $40 million, and you think he would say yes to that?
I think it's in his best interest to play for the Vikings. I think
he'll get a better offer elsewhere.
No. Not financially. Not financially. I'm not talking financially. It won't be his best offer, but just from a schematic standpoint, the coach, the weapons, the system, the O-line, which didn't look good yesterday, but overall has been pretty good.
If you're a big-time Sammy D, you're thinking, this is my opportunity to cash
but Sammy D's already, he was the number 2 overall pick. He's got a lot of cash, like
if you're the Vikings GM in this scenario, what are you telling Sam Darnold about playing time next year?
I think it's obviously your job. You had a great year. It's your job. And there's no pressure on you. There's already pressure on you last year and you played great. There you go.
I don't think he'll be the Vikings quarterback.
I don't think either. Yeah. But I think it's in his best interest just from a football perspective. And I think it's why wouldn't you, if you're the Vikings?
But it's not if the money is that big of a difference, there's just no
Would you
way.
rather play for Tennessee or Minnesota?
I agree with what you're saying. What you're saying is situation matters.
Yes.
But does it matter that much?
So what is the gap? Because that's a great point.
Many millions of dollars.
If it's millions of dollars. If it's hundreds or up to $100 million difference, heck yeah, sign there. Go there.
So somebody will give him a good amount.
But if it's 3 years, if the first offer from the Vikings is 3 years, 40, and then another offer from Tennessee is 3 years, 45 a year.
I don't think they're going to do that. You have JJ. So it's either one or done.
I don't know. You don't know that. He played well enough to
I mean, he's good.
Defend having him on your team again next year. And there is a benefit to JJ McCarthy having more than just 1 year.
3 more years though.
You can make
final year of his rookie deal.
You know how the NFL works. It's a 3-year deal. That's essentially a 2-year
deal. But what you're saying is 3 years.
Yeah. But that's what no one signs a 2-year deal. It will have to be at least a 3-year.
Okay,
deal.
All right. So we're talking about a 2-1.
A 2-1.
But still, you're only allowed one real season then to figure out what JJ McCarthy is after.
Well, the Packers did it with Jordan Love, where they were able to make they split it down the middle of what his contract was before he started playing. That was beneficial for both him.
I do not believe that he will be playing for the Vikings And
That's fine.
I did not believe he
That's
will be
fine.
making 3 years, 45. I think he'll be making probably like almost $30 million a year next year.
Oh, you think 40 is too high?
Like I'm a year.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You said 3 years, 45 million, 45 million total for the 3 years?
No. I meant every year is 40 million.
Oh, okay.
So 3 years, 120 million.
Oh, that's a very different thing.
No, when I said 3 years, 40 million, I didn't say. See, when I was talking to Gary, I said 3 years, 40 million a year.
Okay.
That I messed up with you. I meant 3 years, 120 million total, 40 million a year.
Sam says LL Darnold is getting offered more than 3 years, 45 million. What is this? 2007?
No, guys. I meant 3 years, 40 million a year. Obviously, he's not getting $12 million a year after having a 4,300 yard, 35 TD, 12 interception season.
I still think it's not going to be the spot for him, probably. And that's fine.
Probably not because of the money. But I was just saying from a schematics perspective for him and the Vikings, it makes sense for that marriage to continue. They went 14-3.
Mm-hmm.
They went 14-3.
Stock took a hit.
So
here's
here's my top 3 head coaches for the Bears.
Okay.
And I'll give you a reason why for every single one of them. I'll give you my top 4.
Jim Harbaugh.
So number 1 is, Jesus, I'm glad we're done with that.
Well, really?
For literally a decade, that's all they talked about is how Jim would be a great coach at Chicago. I'm just glad we're done with that because it was such a stupid combo. Everyone knew it wasn't going to happen. Number 1, Ben Johnson. Obviously. Okay. Number 2.
Apparently he's going to be a Tom Brady guy.
Number 2, Cliff Kingsbury. So the reason being, he did a great job with Jaden Daniels in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
He won 11 games his second year in Arizona. And then his third year was kind of ixnayed because Kyler got hurt. Okay. And then they ended up moving on from him because there was some issues. But he has a relationship with Caleb. He coached Caleb at USC. That's the most important thing. Having a good rapport with the franchise quarterback. Okay. So him being connected to Caleb and being a coach in USC his final year is a big deal for me. So I think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 3. This is like this one's kind of controversial, and then the next one's probably even more controversial. Brian Flores, I wouldn't mind. I know he alienated Tua, but it seems like
I honestly think that they're probably going to end up with him.
It just seems like he's learned from it. He's understood his mishaps. He's done a great job rebuilding his brand, not only to the media, but inside the walls of the Vikings rooms and other rooms in football. Miami was good when he was the coach, and he was doing a lot with a little. Like they were pretty damn good and making the playoffs and competing in the NFC East while Brady was still there.
Hasn't usually ended well.
No. Okay. So the 4th one is, and this is the one where everyone's going to roll their eyes and think I'm an idiot, but I wouldn't mind Mike McCarthy. I'm not saying that Mike McCarthy, I want him to be the coach. I'm not saying he's my number 1 guy.
I honestly don't think that would be horrible for them.
He raises the floor. He doesn't raise the ceiling, but he raises the floor. They'll win games because that's what he does. And then when you get into the playoffs, like it's just kind of based on whether or not he doesn't get a puckered butt and if the quarterback can come through and like win a big game. Everyone was dogging on me a little bit, not only in chat, but on the Twitter. But like the thing is that other than Ben Johnson, there is a negativity that you can say about every single remaining candidate.
Yeah.
Like every single remaining candidate.
I think to that effect, though, like you just don't, there's the one hot guy every year, and you're not sure if that's going to work every time. Like NFL coaches, it's just hard for those people. It's hard for those guys to come in and ask them to like, all right, we're going to change.
Yes.
We're going to be everything that you dreamed of us being right away. It's just hard. I don't know.
Also, too,
that's why I never have strong opinions on who NFL coaches should be. Like I just don't.
It is a crapshoot.
Yeah.
What's the bigger crapshoot? The NFL draft or hiring coaches?
Hiring coaches, the effect is more negligible, right?
Yes.
If you draft a really good player, then the effect is immense.
Yeah.
If you draft a bad player, the effect is immense.
Yeah.
Right. But there's still variance there.
But
you could do your research on that. So what was the question? What's more of a
crapshoot?
Probably coaches.
Yeah.
Just because the difference is negligible
in
a lot of the cases.
Yeah. It's a great it's a good combo.
It's a great combo. That's why we have the convo.
Who is your
talk?
Who is your
radio.
NFL team?
Don't have one.
Okay.
Don't
Don't
have
blame you. Do you have
the
a
New York Financiers of the Fantasy Football League. That was what my team was called this year.
My team was I'm boring. Well, actually, I took my buddies to Lincoln and they went to the bar, and they thought it was so funny that there was a bar called the Bar.
Uh-huh.
And so like the inside joke, the entire team was like, "Hey, let's go to Matt's room, you know, or like let's like we're on the elevator,
That's
or
pretty
like
good.
like they just kept doing that."
Uh-huh.
So then I renamed my team. I'm not going to tell you what the first year my team name was called because I would get canceled. But then I renamed my team to the team.
The team.
Yeah. Well,
And how'd the team do this year?
we were Sacco.
Wow, last.
So I have to go and
Yeah, what do you have to do?
I either have to go to a bar from open till close,
Ouch.
or I have to go to a comedy store and I have to do stand up. But all the players of the leagues get to write the jokes for me.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get canceled. So it's either I've been trying to negotiate. I go, I'd rather do the bar from open till close than because I can just bring the computer and like do work and whatever.
It could be better for you.
Yeah, as opposed to like potentially being canceled and having my career ruined
Definitely
because
get
someone,
canceled.
That'd be
you
bad.
know, that'd be not great. Like
That'd be
I'm a person of, you know, I'm out there. My image matters.
No, maybe you could say to the joke writers.
No, they wouldn't do it. No, I've already talked to them. They're like, we're not going to hold back. Like, we are not. There's in no way, shape, or form we're going to be like, oh, we got to take it easy on Matt. Like, you lose fantasy football.
Okay.
There it is.
There it is. Sorry, I was looking at the comments.
No, you're
to see
good.
What was going on in there? Sal says franchise tag him and see if JJ is worth anything.
Can they franchise tag him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May not be a bad idea.
1 year. All right. See you tonight.
I'll see you tonight. I do want to see you. Dude, like, I'll come up. You come up to me.
Well, you'll be seeing me.
Oh, yeah. I'll be seeing a lot of you, hearing a lot of you, more than I ever want to see or hear.
Probably. That is Matt McMaster. That is the crossover powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It's Tuesday. We'll start things off next.
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Tuesday. It's the Connor Happer Show here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Odson with you. Yeah, the Vikings. Oh,
Imagine thinking the Vikings were going to win that game.
I will raise my hand. I don't know. Maybe I thought it was just a Lions thing. Admittedly, I was concerned about the state of one young Sam Darnold going into that game, and I thought, that's okay.
Just one game.
Flush it. It's just one game. Look at the body of work that they put together all year long. Whoa.
Look at them losing to the Rams earlier in the year.
After the game last night, they go to Van Pelt and in the studio, and then he brings back Buck and Aikman. By the way, what was wrong with Aikman last night?
He sounded like he was on death's door.
He sounded horrendous.
Yeah.
He was probably sick of going on all the Dallas talk shows all day long. Anyway, they brought him in, and SVP was like, "Hey, so Troy, do you think that'll probably affect Darnold's stock the last two games here?" And he was like, "Yep, I think so."
Safe bet.
Yeah, I think so. I think so, Scott.
I think so, Scott.
Yeah, he was not feeling it last night.
Not good.
Not feeling it last night. So we will talk about the Vikings, the Darnold, and Minnesota sports pain, which continues over and over and over. Plug your ears if you are a Vikings, Twins, what's the hockey team? Wild and Timberwolves fan.
That's right. This is not an isolated incident.
There's a lot of Wild fans I know in our audience. I'm sorry in advance. A lot of Minnesota Wild fans.
Oh, yeah. Lovely sweaters that team has.
All right. Today, we'll talk about the NFL and preview the Divisional Round weekend with our good friend Allan Bell of Driving the Line coming up at 11:30. Jacob Bigelow will join us at 1. That is the lineup powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. I want to hear from you all. 402-951-1620. You can call or text that number on the hotline. Tweet at Happer Show, at Connor Happer on the JTech Instruction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor Josh Show at 1620thezone.com. On the Equitable Bank inbox, so we say good morning to the YouTube streamers today. Hi, everybody. Hi. How we doing?
Hello, fam.
What's going on in there? Put some I forgot to eat my orange today.
Oh, no.
I've been on a really good orange kick, and I bought a big old pile of oranges yesterday. And I almost thought about getting a big chalice and filling up the bowl with oranges. But I don't have a chalice. Well, I guess I have a smaller chalice.
A small chalice.
I have a small chalice, not a big chalice. I know. But I have a lot of oranges at this point. And so I forgot to eat my orange today. That's why. I'm having a bad morning.
Oh, that's why.
Yep.
I would encourage the audience in celebration of Sam Darnold. Let's put some pumpkins in the chat, baby.
Oh, put some pumpkins. I want to see pumpkins and oranges in the chat. You can join us. Watch us along on YouTube, 1620 The Zone TV, or on zonetv.live. I think I uploaded. Well, I haven't uploaded the video yet, but there was a video that I wanted to play for you all today, involving. We'll jump back into this as we preview the show today and get through it. Jalen Lloyd. So he transferred to Oklahoma State, and he had a quote.
He did,
and I have the video of that. We'll play that a little bit later. No drama attached to this whatsoever. In fact, I'll ask, why does, it's very normal. Anyway, we'll get to that. We will talk about that Minnesota sports pain. We'll check in with Coach Prime, and we'll see what's going on down there, over there, potentially down there. Deion Sanders had a quote last night to Mr. Schefter about his correspondences with his dear, dear friend and television star confidant, Jara Jones. Both television stars, right? Deion Sanders.
Oh, yeah, the landman.
I saw something last night that Deion Sanders is the last non-musical act to both be the host and musical guest of Saturday Night Live until Timmy Chalamet in a couple weeks.
Ball knower Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, he's going to be the host and the musical guest, even though he is not of music.
Uh-huh.
And Deion was the last person to do that back in the 90s. So
that's I'm sorry.
Stat of the day.
I got to look this up.
I believe that. I believe it's true.
I'm not doubting you.
I saw it one time and I believed it.
Sure.
There's only a few people in the club, and I saw it and I believed it.
It's a club that's getting bigger, though. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
We could probably not do it every other week. That'd be great. SNL. Ray Charles, Art Garfunkel.
Right, but we're
Desi
looking for
Arnaz.
non Desi Arnaz is one.
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey is one.
I need to find that episode.
So Timmy Shals and Deion Sanders, they're in the club with Mr. Busey.
Mm-hmm.
Non-musical acts to be the host and musical guest of SNL.
Does Quincy Jones count
as a musical act?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I
mean, he's obviously of music.
Yes.
But
yeah.
didn't know he was like a performer of music.
Yeah, that's true.
Deion Sanders, February 18th, 1995.
Coach Prime. He's done a lot of things. He's got a lot on his resume. If Deion Sanders actually had to make a resume to like apply for a job, what do you think? What do you think would be on there? What do you think he would write on there? Like, what would be at the top of it? Like, what is the?
How many kids he put through college?
I mean, what you really want to do is you want to put the most applicable experiences at the top, so that your future. So if he's applying to be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, what would you put on there? I guess
good at crisis management.
I guess the most worthwhile thing as it applies to that job is being the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, right?
Probably, yeah.
Maybe.
I have worked here before. Could I?
Yeah.
Could I work there again?
See that? There, you put that at the top too. These are all bullet points. I wonder. Somebody make up a Coach Prime mock resume. I'd like to see it.
I'm still scrolling through people who have hosted and performed.
A lot of Justin Timberlakes.
Oh my God, they do this all the time now.
A lot of Justin Timberlakes. Amazing Daniel writes.
Hi, Amazing Daniel.
A lot of actors can sing. So many of them are theater kids at heart, so they all have singing, dancing, etc. down. No, I'm excited for this Timmy Chalamet bit.
Yeah, I think Timmy can do it. Did Charlie XCX need to host SNL?
No.
Is she funny?
I don't think so. Actually, I don't know. I shouldn't say.
Yeah.
I really shouldn't say.
I guess that's more
accurate. No, but what did Coach Prime sing?
He had a rap album.
Like, did he do one of his, or did he, like, what's Timmy gonna sing?
Bob Dylan songs.
Good point. Yep, you're right. That's gonna be funny. That's gonna be really funny, actually.
Oh, I'm Bob Dylan. I can't stop.
Like, you do the musical act as kind of a bit. It's kind of a skit.
It's a 5-minute commercial for that movie.
Interesting. Okay. Elsewhere, college football playoff semifinals took a ratings hit year over year, and I wonder why. I have a theory.
The SEC wasn't in it.
No, well, they were actually.
Oh, they were.
They were in the semifinals.
Okay.
Until Captain Jack showed up.
Captain Jack.
So I have a theory as to why. Creighton plays Providence tonight, and we have Creighton tickets for tonight. We have tickets for tonight, and I'll make you earn it today. It's not going to be as simple as caller number 4 gets the tickets for tonight's basketball game.
No, that's what other shows do.
That's what we do most of the time.
Yeah.
But I have a trivia question for you all. So we'll ask that at some point during the show, and we'll get you Creighton tickets for tonight. And a couple Husker topics if you want to throw those in there as well. But like I said, we're sort of like distancing ourselves from Huskers at the moment, just because not much going on. Now, if they get a commitment from Mr. Shiaz, we're right back in. Mr. Pete.
I am ready to fall in love all over again.
Yeah. Yep. Get ready, because the train starts rolling down the hill, and all of a sudden you can't stop it. All right, it's Tuesday. We're off and running. We will talk about the Sam Darnold of it all and the Vikings of it all when we return. The Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. And while we suffer here in Omaha in the dead of winter, Josh takes to social media to watch his dear, sweet baby boy, Ronald Acuna, randomly hit baseballs in a dirt field in Venezuela.
Look at him. Look at him. Oh, my gosh. Those shoes are so yellow.
How many days until pitchers and catchers report? 13 at this point?
It's got to be like 30 tops.
Dude, I think they're probably showing up earlier than that.
In a bat flip. Ronnie's probably going to show up early. Look at this guy.
He's not. This is now, to be clear, this is an organized baseball that Ronald Acuna is participating in.
Nope.
It is unorganized baseball.
Just a guy soft tossing, and Ronnie's mashing him.
And meanwhile, here we sit up in Omaha. Josh, I know you're focused on the Acuna video, but I need access to the buttons real quick.
Oh, it's looped 3 or 4 times.
Oh, okay. Let's turn that off. Meanwhile, we sit up here in Omaha, and it sounds a lot like this.
I want to kill myself, jump in the cold, and die of frostbite.
It's so cold. It's so cold.
Yeah, but the next 2 days, after get through today, and the next 2 days are fine. We're flirting with 50 on
Yeah,
Friday.
but then we go straight back to.
I want to kill myself, jump in the cold, and die of frostbite.
That's how I feel.
Well, that's the trade.
We're just trying to string the days together at this point. The Arctic blast is here. It appears, but not for the next 2 days. Apparently,
Right. Get through today.
Josh.
You're gonna have 2 nice ones.
All right. Let me start with this. I feel bad for the Rams. Nobody's talking about the Rams today.
No,
Nobody wants to talk about the Rams.
it's interesting. You
The
think
Rams are really good.
Yeah, they got everyone healthy and are really good.
The Rams might beat the Eagles.
What a hell of a story the Rams winning that game last night would be.
With their town in disarray.
Yes.
At the moment, everybody going to Phoenix to make that thing happen, and the side story of the Cardinals and them being such generous hosts and all the things like that. And meanwhile, all anybody wants to talk about is how Sam Darnold is a pumpkin.
I told you so. Dumbasses like me, all we want to talk about is, I told you Sam Darnold was a pumpkin.
Yeah. We were definitely on watch last week, and it turned into a full-blown morning last night. What happened? He just poops his pants. He's a pants pooper. I mean, he looked like, usually it's you can take the results and you can say, oh man, well, he just didn't perform in the playoffs, right?
That's the thing.
That's a thing. A different thing is what we saw from the last 2 weeks from Sammy D. He was shaking. I mean, like, visibly sped up the whole thing. And so that brings in a lot of questions about them. So I just wanted to, before we do this, I wanted to talk about the Rams just briefly and congratulate the Rams on a lovely, lovely win last night and say that I believe that they are a threat in the National Football Conference.
Whoa.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, the Rams, yes.
The Rams.
I'm still thinking Vikings.
The Vikings are obviously not.
Yes.
They are canceled.
The Eagles should be scared.
All right, so we learned a lot about Sam Darnold. Is he a worthwhile bridge quarterback? Yeah. But I was starting to think he had more of a ceiling than that. I was drugged right into the trap along with everybody else. And I was even willing to a certain extent, look past the abomination that happened against Detroit on Sunday night last week and say, look at the body of work, man. And now we're forced to ask the question, were the Vikings fake all along? I don't think you win 14 games by mistake, but you got absolutely blasted the last 2 weeks and look completely different in doing so. This year, the Vikings were 8th in FPI, Football Power Index. They were 13th in offense. They were 2nd in defense. And then there was a stat on ESPN that I was looking at last night that they track. It's called average win probability. Average win probability.
Okay.
It's described as teams' average in-game win probability rank adjusted for a chance that an average NFL team would control that game from start to end the way this team did, given the schedule. Does that make sense?
A little.
I'll read it again. Teams' average in-game win probability rank, adjusted for chance that an average NFL team would control game from start to end the way this team did, given the schedule. Basically,
Okay.
and in that stat, they were number one. They were number one in the NFL. Basically, what happened to the Vikings this year is, and they didn't, schedule in the NFL, I always find so odd, but, all the games are hard, right? But they got up in games, and they generally won games close, and they found ways to win. And what that stat is telling you is that an average NFL team would do the same. I believe that's what the stat is telling you. I believe that's what, given the game control that they had. Now, I don't want to hold game control against them.
This is the Matt Rule win probability.
Yeah, like game control is great.
Get up, stay up.
Get up and stay up. But like a lot of teams can do it that way. And that's why the analytics didn't really like them. And that's why you looked at them and you said, ooh, they're a bit of a fraud. And I don't know. The proof is in there. The proof is in there. They got smoked the last 2 weeks. And
I understand it's very difficult to win 14 games in an NFL season, and that tells you that this team is probably good. This schedule that they played is a travesty. They played their division.
Yes.
And that is
Which
it.
was good.
Yes, very good. It has the Lions in it. They went 0-2 against the Lions.
Actually,
they did go 2-0 against the Packers.
Okay, but that's interesting, though. Because I think in hindsight, people would be like, well, the Packers were actually better. But the Vikings beat them twice.
Yeah.
And they beat them in really close games both times, right?
Correct.
It was like 24
points total in the two games.
Yeah, right. Like low 20s in both games.
Yep.
And then who else was on there, Josh?
Giants, Niners, Texans, Jets.
Texans?
Colts.
They're moving on.
Jags, Titans, Bears, Cardinals, Falcons, Bears, Seahawks, Packers. There was a Rams game in there, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, not much.
Not a murderer's row.
Nope.
12-7 against the Jaguars. Remember that? And we were all like,
yeah, what's that mean?
What's up with that?
Yeah, but then after you're 11-0 or whatever they were, it's like, well, I don't have to care about that anymore. They're 11-0.
Right. Now, there is something to be said for winning all of those games, like not slipping up.
Exactly.
Like, that's a real thing.
But
boy, when people started watching the Vikings,
wasn't good.
Not great.
Mustache Adam writes in on Twitter.
Hi, Mustache.
No one is talking about the Rams, but we keep hearing about that Minnesota was good. I don't know. I just fell in. I guess I just fell into the trap.
I said Los Angeles would put on for their city, and you all mocked me.
Or maybe it's just a Rams-Lions problem for them. Those were their only 4 losses the entire year. They lost back-to-back weeks in week 6 and 7 to the Lions and Rams, and then week 18 in the wild card round against the Lions and the Rams.
Eric with a K on YouTube.
Eric with a K.
They were the opposite of Nebraska. They were very good in one-score games.
They were good.
Eric with a K has a Rams logo in his avatar.
So if you're Mike J. Schaefer and you made creamy nachos last night in your crock pot and you were excited about it.
That sounds very white.
Incredibly white.
Okay.
I received a text yesterday afternoon that said, Slow Cooker Mondays are back. Creamy crockpot creamy nachos today for game day fare. The Vikings might not win, but I'll stuff my face either way.
Okay.
And then I said that, I'm glad it's creamy nachos. Much better than regular nachos. That's for sure. So no word from Schaefer on if the nachos got thrown out the window at the end of the night. I would have been pretty distraught at that game. If I'm Mike Schaefer, I would have been pretty distraught.
On Twitter, he really seemed to only be bothered, not that they lost, but how they lost.
Yeah. What? Getting absolutely, no pun intended, rammed?
I believe he...
You've been rammed.
That's what they should do.
Yeah.
I believe he likened it to the printer in Office Space.
Tyler writes in, crockpot nachos, Mike was down bad watching his team get beat down.
Hey, we like what we like, okay?
Yeah. And then another one of our mutual friends who works in local media in town texted a group text that I'm in with Mike Schaefer and the other person, and took a picture of his daily fantasy lineup. And then this was during the game this is at 8:11. Mike Schaefer responded, "No one gives a bleep."
Oh no.
I just dying laughing. Incredible. Oh, I'm sorry, Schaefer. Anyway, luckily he's not a fan of the Minnesota Twins. He's just a fan of the other sports franchise that never wins the championship, the Cleveland Guardians. Minnesota sports pain. Let's talk about it for a second.
Hold on.
Oh, what do we have? Pain everywhere.
Oh no! Disaster!
Yeah, indeed.
Go on.
So there are 12 full service, like you're getting an oil change and a car wash and all that stuff. 12 full service markets in America, right? This is markets that have at least one of each NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB team. There are 12 of those in the country.
I didn't know it was called full service. Okay.
That's what I'm calling it.
That makes sense.
Full service markets. Here's the list of cities or metroplexes or metropolitan areas, whatever. Boston, Chicago, Dallas, Denver, Detroit, LA, Miami, New York, Philly, San Francisco Bay Area, and DC, and then Minneapolis. 12 of them.
Oh my gosh, I've seen every one of those cities hoist a trophy except Minnesota.
You've seen every one of them host many trophies. They're doing a lot of hoisting, and Minnesota is doing no hoisting.
Oh, that's awful.
How many times has the city of Boston hoisted since the city of Minneapolis last won a championship, which was when the Minnesota Twins won the World Series in 1991?
I guess I have seen the Twins hoist.
1991.
It's got to be at least 10.
13.
Okay.
Chicago's not known for winning.
3 Blackhawks and a Cubs. That's at least 4.
And a White Sox.
People forget.
And remember the Bulls dynasty?
Oh, yeah, that does count.
10 in Chicago. Dallas. Dallas has 5 teams.
Cowboys had a run.
They did. The Rangers recently won a World Series. Yeah. The Mavericks won an NBA title.
That's right. Did the Stars win a cup?
The Stars.
I know they're perennially pretty good.
I looked all this up last night. I can't remember if the Stars won one or not. Right. Dallas has 6. Denver.
I saw Jokic hoisting.
Denver has the Rockies. They are not responsible for any hoisting in this scenario. The Nuggets are responsible for one. The Broncos were pretty good for a long time, weren't they? And then the Avs have won a couple. Denver has 7.
98, 99 Stars.
There you go.
Cup.
Denver has 7.
Yeah.
Detroit.
Remember that Pistons team that nobody gave a chance in hell?
4 Red Wings titles and 1 Pistons title. 5 Detroit championships.
A Lions?
Soon to come, potentially. Los Angeles, they have 100 teams. They don't even count. They have 13.
Lakers, Dodgers.
Yeah.
There's a Rams in there.
There's a lot of Kings and whatever the other hockey team is too. Miami, 6 titles. New York has 100 teams. New York has 11 championships. We're talking about since 1991, since the Twins won the World Series in 1991. New York has 11 titles, but 3 of them are by the Devils. Does that count?
I don't think that counts.
Okay,
now,
we'll take them out.
It doesn't count because they play in New Jersey, because then like the New York Giants Super Bowls wouldn't count. It counts because they claim Jersey.
Philly has 2.
Eagles.
The Bay Area has 8.
Warriors.
Washington, D.C. has 3.
Capitals, Nats.
Minnesota, 0.
Wow.
That's pain, baby. That is pain.
Yeah, just pain. It was pain everywhere.
This does not even account for the ways Minnesota has been eliminated in these playoffs.
A lot of the times they make the postseason.
Yes.
Gosh.
A lot of times they run into the Yankees.
All right. We'll have more on that after this on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
So, what has the state of Minnesota done to deserve what they've gotten for the last 30 plus years? Which is nothing, for the record. Nothing. Not a single thing.
Not that they haven't done anything. It's just that they haven't won anything.
Are they horrible people? Sam says maybe the Vikings fans are horrible people and they should feel bad.
I don't know anything about that.
Black Cat wonders if we should count the Minnesota Lynx for titles.
Oh.
No.
Whoa.
Because we're just talking about the four. I make the parameters on this game.
Yeah, exactly. You made the parameters.
Although Black Cat adds, although they too lost in excruciatingly painful fashion in the finals last year. But yes, the Lynx did get Minnesota over the hump. If I'm the Lynx, I'm just throwing shade at every other Minneapolis sports team. I'm like, you want to go to somewhere they actually win championships? I don't care that the league's only like 8 teams or whatever it is, but we win.
What? Like it's hard?
So, not great. Not great for them. And we're sorry. But honestly, I want to see it keep going.
Whoa.
I don't know why. It's just a hilarious, like, think about, it's almost a virtual impossibility, right? Look at all these. You are one of the few cities in America that has 4 chances to win this every year. You have 4 chances to win one every year. So you do the math on that. I mean, what 34 years now times 4. I guess we maybe missed one season in there somewhere. There was a strike season and
sure.
I don't know, a couple. I mean, we're talking about 140 opportunities. Oh, for 140, Josh? That is not a Hall of Fame batting average.
It is not.
That is
Good
not going
take by you.
That is not going to get you anything.
Like, and we're talking about this, so it's a thing, but it's not like the Guardians haven't won a title since blah 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 blah. Like it's not that bad. You're not that sad.
No, they have won. They have won one.
So like America isn't like, oh, I want Minnesota to win because they haven't won anything in so long. Nope. You're not at that bottom yet.
Yeah, but like you don't see, like we could go through it for the individual teams. The Vikings, I mean, have been through absolute hell.
Yeah.
Right. In their pursuit for getting to the ultimate crown here.
So many great kickers turned horrible.
Yeah. So many bad playoff losses called by Paul Allen when he started yelling, no, it can't end this way. So many bad playoff losses. We see this oftentimes with individual franchises that go through these droughts and they say at the end of their horrifying playoff loss, they say, why does this keep happening to us? But rarely, if ever, as a city, a whole city, a full service city.
Now, before the Cavs won that title with LeBron,
that was a big drought.
That was a Cleveland hasn't won since 1992.
But once again, Cleveland not full. Well, they are, right?
No. The Ohio NHL team resides in Columbus. Of course. That makes sense, right?
They do not count.
Columbus has a pro sports franchise.
It's a pro sports town. You seen Ohio State play football?
Those are professionals.
Yes, they are. They're making lots of dollars.
I've heard.
So then we got this text from Cody.
Hi, Cody.
What's Cody up to here?
Code man.
While growing up, I wanted to be a Minnesota Vikings fan. I went out and bought gear, and I followed for a few years. I went to get on a bus my sophomore year, and the one and only Mike Schaefer was there.
Whoa!
And he told me, now, I got to reach out to Mike on this one. He told me, it's from Cody, that he was the only true Vikings fan, and I could not join the wagon. Sophomore year of what, first of all? Of college? Of high school? Okay.
Not a lot of people getting on the bus to go to college, right?
I mean, I would take the bus to East Campus sometimes.
Okay.
In college. when I was in my ag days.
Whoa.
When I was a big grass boy.
Still are, from what I hear.
Did I ever tell you that I wanted to be a grass man?
You want to be a field turf guy. You wanted to be...
Yeah, I did, man. That was a bad idea.
Oh.
Well, I think
you'd be great at it.
No, I just don't know anything about chemistry. And nor was I willing to learn.
Sure.
On days like this, I am so glad, Cody says, that he kicked me off the Vikings fandom bus.
Oh, it worked.
And I have not had to suffer for the last 20 years. I have to reach out to all available parties to confirm this story. I don't even know who Cody is.
And follow-up question to Cody, who'd you end up going with?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Presumably an NFC North team, right? Black and blue division? Or did you go with the Chiefs?
John emails into the show.
Cody says it was in high school.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we're gonna reach out here. We're gonna see what's going on. John emails in. What has Minnesota done? Do you not remember Tim Walz?
No. That's a Nebraskan.
Yeah, that's right. He's ours, coach. Jake writes in.
Hi, Jake.
Connor says the WNBA doesn't count. Wait till Caitlin Clark finds out. Wait till Caitlin Clark finds out you don't think she can count to 10. Hey, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
Just didn't count in these specific parameters.
I appreciate you putting Connor in that specifically and not lumping me in with his terrible take.
It's not a take, Josh. I just excluded them.
Yes, you did.
Purposefully.
I did not.
It's not like it was an accident. It's not like I forgot about them. I knew they existed. I just didn't keep them in there.
You're not helping.
Well, I want you to know my intent.
Men's franchises. We're talking about the men.
We are talking about major professional sports franchise.
Of which the Minnesota Lynx are one.
Well, I don't know.
Have you seen their TV ratings?
Are they good?
Through the roof.
Really?
When they play the Indianapolis Fever.
Interesting. Meanwhile, on the Rams side of things, a video just popped up on my timeline from draft day 2023 when Sean McVay excitedly proclaimed that in the 5th round, they were going to get Puka Nacua, and he said, we're going to nail that pick. And boy, did they ever. Puka Nacua he plays wide receiver like a running back.
Yeah.
The way he moves is so interesting to me. And like when
there's a physicality to it that is not common with the position.
Right, but he makes these little moves that make him like super evasive. He's not the fastest guy in the world, but like if you get him out on the perimeter, he did one last night where they had it blocked out in front of him and he caught a swing out there or something like that. And he just made this one little move that gave him this opportunity for the smallest little hole, punch right through it. Yeah, that guy's really good. So I do think they nailed that one. I do think they nailed that one.
Yeah. To say the least.
Okay. All right. So we'll follow up with Schaefer on the whole kicking that guy off the bus thing.
The metaphorical bus. I don't think he kicked him off the actual bus.
I mean, that would have been funny if he actually kicked him off the bus. It's like, you can't be a Vikings fan and you can't be on this bus.
Go home and change.
But
Mike Schaefer a bully?
I agree with you. I don't think that happened either. All right, Josh, I have a we're gonna play that here in a second.
Oh, okay.
I have a video. Sorry, I kind of sprung this on you. So yesterday, well, I guess over the weekend, right? Jalen Lloyd. Remember Jalen Lloyd?
I do. How could I forget?
Originally of Omaha Central High School, then of West Side High School, then of the University of Nebraska, of the track team and of the football team. He had a really nice freshman year. People were saying that he was Maserati Marv.
Oh,
he was catching all those long touchdown passes. And then this past year, just less appearances for Jalen Lloyd. So he did a very normal thing, and he went into the transfer portal. Matt Sotilli of KETV in Omaha caught up with him at Oklahoma State, or I guess he was probably in Omaha, about his decision to transfer to Oklahoma State. And here is Jalen Lloyd.
I just didn't get a lot of opportunity and I felt like it wasn't going to get any better. So Oklahoma State, they talked to me about what they see in me and my role in offense. They really wanted me on the team. I really like Dana and DeKeel. They're really good coaches. I just felt like at that point in the season, I think it was like a little too late. I had battled some injuries, and then I got a sickness, so I couldn't really like make a impression on Dana and DeKeel. Yeah, I think Oklahoma State just has a better opportunity for me. They got a new OC that just played in the national championship game with TCU, so I'm excited to get down there and go to work.
So that's Jalen Lloyd. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. This is the most normal way to transfer out of any of the ways to transfer.
Yes, true.
This is as normal as it gets. I cannot think of a more normal way to transfer. Talented guy,
clearly
played in his freshman season, saw the writing on the wall, didn't play, didn't make that big jump in his sophomore year, didn't get the opportunity to make a big jump, had some injuries, had some health
sickness,
had some health stuff.
Is he okay?
I don't know what that was.
Okay.
And went into the transfer portal where he found a better spot for opportunity and a clean slate. Just to be clear, there's no drama here.
Yeah, he didn't.
Because I saw people
burn the bridge on the way out.
I saw people like interacting with this thing yesterday.
Never do that, by the way.
No. And there is always, most of it is like, hey, we wish you good luck and sorry it didn't work out. But I thought there was a lot of people who were like, man, you just really hate to see this. No, this is actually the thing that you love to see. This is actually the thing that you really, really love to see. A guy who understands the surroundings around him, and I'm not saying that he's definitively worse or better than anybody that Nebraska currently has in the roster, right? But he's looking around and he's saying, I'm not really getting the opportunity that I thought I was going to get or that I want to get. And so let's find a clearer path for me. And a fresh slate, a clean slate doesn't hurt anybody either. That is like the old school, most normal way to transfer that I could possibly think of. There should be no drama with this situation. No drama. Happer is what we're calling this show today. No drama.
But the reason we're playing that clip and you keep bringing up how normal this is, I'm guessing there's some drama.
No, people are just saying. People just say stuff about this.
Good, because this is
I only bring it up to drive home the point. Just because he's a local guy, and like we do this with the local guys, right? It's kind of the same deal with Malachi Coleman. And Malachi Coleman became I don't want to put him in the same bucket as I don't want to put Lloyd in the same bucket as Malachi Coleman, but in the sense that they were both local, right? Malachi went to Lincoln East, and he became sort of like we talked about with Thomas Fidone, sort of like a lightning rod.
Okay.
Throughout his time here. And there always seemed to be like some sort of like, I'm talking about with Malachi now, there always seemed to be some sort of like back channeling of like, oh, he's not happy about this. And the coaching staff isn't happy about this. And there always seemed to be that. I never heard any of that with Jalen Lloyd.
No.
Never heard any of that with Jalen Lloyd. And so when they are local products, and they are highly recruited local products, I think there's a tendency to pay more attention to them, and people feel a certain way about them. If they have success in their college careers, it should be at Nebraska. But we have to open the door to the possibility that Malachi Coleman will go to Minnesota and have a successful career, and that Jalen Lloyd will go to Oklahoma State and have a successful career, and that still Nebraska could have things figured out with their roster here without those guys on it.
Yeah,
or Isaiah McMorris or Davon Hall and those guys as well.
This is what would it be, 1920, something like that, making an adult decision and acting like an adult about
This is a 1920? What's that mean?
A 19 or 20-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I was like, what's a 1920? Is that like a police code or something?
No. A 19 or 20-year-old.
Yes.
And he's making an adult decision. He's handling it like an adult. Like, hey, no hard feelings. I got to do what's best for me. I'm going to go over here. Looks like I can find the field over there. best of luck to you guys over here.
Okay. That's the only reason I wanted to bring that up.
Normal.
Very cool. Very normal. Nothing going on there. And it's good for everybody. And I'm also not saying here is that, Nebraska made the right decision because they got better players than them. I don't know that they definitively did. I don't know that they definitively did that. But this is sometimes what happens when a new offensive coordinator comes in and he has specific ideas and thoughts about what he wants, and he's tied to specific people. I mean, you look at Nebraska's wide receiver room, and Mitch and I were sort of doing this exercise a little bit this morning. But like you look at their wide receiver room, and the only guy that I would certainly, the alpha in the room is Dane Key at the moment. He's your Jamal Banks of last year. And then there's Ja'Cory Barney, who brings returned production, right? Like, so he's slotted for playing time next year, starter caliber minutes. And Isaiah Hunter had a nice freshman season at Cal last year. You could kind of these days, I guess, count that as returning production, although there is a gap that you have to bridge there with learning and all that stuff. I would imagine he's slotted for playing time. Hardly Gilmore had a good second half of his season last year at Kentucky, his freshman season. And then you're sitting with guys like Quinn Clark and Keelan Smith, and then freshmen like Cortez Mills and Isaiah Mosey. I don't look at that wide receiver room and say, "Oh, it's fixed." It's done. You don't need Jalen Lloyd. You don't need any depth. No, I think odds are Nebraska will find enough there to get to have an improved wide receiver room. But guys, this isn't about like just board. It's not about just, hey, are you better there? Yeah, they might be better there, but they got to be good there. And so I don't look at that room and say, oh, well, it's definitely going to be really, really good. I say it's got a chance to be good.
We'll talk ourselves into them being world beaters by August, but
I'm going to try not to, but it is, I fully recognize that it is January 14th and I want to go jump into the frostbite and die.
Is that Rick?
I fully recognize that.
Like I want to kill myself, jump in the cold and die of frostbite.
I'll be in August. I'll be like, that was a long time ago. Look at me now. Sun-kissed skin. I'm warm.
Shopping for bucket hats.
My skin has a
reddish hue.
There's a warmth to it,
Uh-huh.
right? Everything is so dry now and crackly. And I'll say, can you believe what dry, crackly me thought in January? Probably. You're probably right. All right. There's a quick look at some things. Also, we got a couple more texts about Minnesota things here. Greg in Myrtle Beach chimes in.
Hi, Greg.
On the text line. Minnesota is paying dearly for squandering, all caps, so many of the great South Carolinian Kevin Garnett's prime years.
Oh, yeah.
My man KG toiled with bums there and never complained. I don't know about never.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about never, but definitely toiled with some bums.
Yes.
That's for sure.
That part is accurate.
Yes. Also, shout out to the South Carolinian Kevin Garnett. Also, star of a movie, Uncut Gems.
Oh, yeah. I was feeling that.
By the way, on my which I'm gonna really miss the TikTok. Last night it put me on Mr. D's TikTok finally.
That
movie is so funny. I mean,
Hawaiian Punch.
So funny. How many times have you seen Mr. Deeds? It needs to be more.
I believe it was the second DVD I ever owned.
Okay, so you've seen it a lot.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. A couple follow-ups on Minnesota stuff as well. Cody, who was kicked off the Vikings wagon by Mike
Cody.
Schaefer in high school. I still like Schaefer, and ultimately I would have never been a diehard fan as I never followed a different team, but still thankful for his service of sparing me from years of pain. Oh, okay. So it worked out the best for everybody.
Wait, does he just not have a team?
He doesn't have a team. He's in the Connor Happer pool.
I don't know. I wanted to like that team. Schaefer said I couldn't like them, so I choose nobody.
Exactly. I mean, they could really sour you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what you could have done is you could have just pushed through that and still been a Vikings fan. But like you said, it may have saved you in the long run. Kevin writes in on the Equitable Bank inbox. When I was younger, I was a huge Vikings fan, and I loved them. After the 4th Super Bowl loss, I decided to follow the Denver Broncos. And after their 4th Super Bowl loss, I was in North Carolina, and I decided to follow the upstart Carolina Panthers, who now have 2 Super Bowl losses. I'm 0 for 10 in Super Bowls. That's from Kevin.
Wow.
That's amazing. You even change teams, and you can't win a Super Bowl 3 times.
You're bad at front running, my man.
Ouch. Yeah.
Wow.
But how soon do you think I'd be able to get a Super Bowl if I was afforded the opportunity to pick a new team every 7 years? Basically, I have to guess which singular NFL team is going to win a title within the next 7-year period. Every 7 years.
I think.
Do you think I could do it?
I think you could get 1 in 10. Yeah, I don't think you'd lose 10 in a row.
So put it on the list. Like, I think X team will win a Super Bowl within the next 7 years. Mm-hmm. If you had to pick one, Josh.
Wow.
If you had to pick one team that you would say that team's going to win a Super Bowl definitely in the next 7 years, who is it?
Chiefs.
Interesting. That's good odds.
Yeah.
That's probably your odds-on favorite. Just as long as
I've seen them do it.
Mahomes and Golden and Steel. And
it might take
bronze.
some retooling and like it might not happen this. I'm not saying it's going to happen this year.
Or maybe the Chiefs have won their last one already.
I feel like they have not won the last title of the Mahomes era.
Okay.
Now it might look different than it does today.
Oh, it definitely. I mean, it already does. Yeah. Could I convince you that the Ravens are a good pick for this because the Ravens are the team that are just always good regardless of what they have?
I did think about picking either the Bills or the Ravens, and I ultimately came back to, well, I've never seen them do it.
Right.
So
yeah, but I mean the Bills, you'd be really tempting fate.
Mm-hmm. That's a huge hump to get.
Notorious Super Bowl losers, the Buffalo Bills. You'd be like, oh yeah, they're gonna get one in the next 7. You would have asked the Bills fan every 7 years, they'd be like, yeah, we're gonna get one in the next 7. Well,
of course,
maybe not like 15 years ago, but okay, yeah, I think that's a good pick actually. The Chiefs.
Thank you.
All right, let us know your. We'll put it on the list for you guys. Pick a Super Bowl winner for the next 7 years, but just one. All you need to do is hit it one time. That's all. All right, we'll come back. Speaking of Super Bowl winners, wonder what Allan Bell thinks. We're not going to give him 7 years. We're only going to give him like 4 weeks.
Who you got?
Back after this on 1620 The Zone.
comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Allan Bell, the AB3, on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Nothing that our next guest loves more than predicting that NFL quarterbacks are inevitably going to throw interceptions. And he's good at it. Allan Bell joins us now on the phones. AB, hi, how are you?
Hello, sir. Yeah, you know what? There's nothing better than going through life predicting misery. That's what we want right there.
But it's become so easy to predict the misery, you know?
Yeah.
You got it all statted out. I'm looking at Sam Darnold's chart, you know, you got the no-fly zones all mapped out, and yet he continues to throw to the no-fly zones.
I called before the game and tried to tell everybody. They didn't listen to me. Yeah, man, dude, what do we do with Sam Darnold, man? Has anyone ever burned $60 million faster? I couldn't spend that in 2 weeks. He spent $60 million in 2 weeks. Gone. It's crazy.
Good question. I wonder if Rodman, on one of his trips to Vegas ripped off. I don't think it was probably 60 million though, but you're right. I mean, it's basically the equivalent of what Sam Darnold just did.
Yeah, and I feel bad for him. That's the tough part. It's he had a great year, and I think that will definitely come into play, with it. But man, it was just whatever the Lions did, that just took his soul. It was like the end of Mortal Kombat 1. Shang Tsung out here just took it. It was brutal.
He was completely different over the last couple of weeks. There's no doubt about it. Okay, so that is absolutely the storyline of the day, and it's something that we've talked about for sure. But I also wanted to mention how awesome the Rams have looked lately, and how good they looked last night. We had a playoff game winner last night, and they have a chance to beat Philly on Sunday, and yet the story is about Sam Darnold and the Vikings and the team that got eliminated after winning 14 games.
No, you're 100% right. And here's the crazy part, and check me on this. All right, I don't know the exact number, but if you look at the Rams, the last 3 to 4 weeks, their defense has been on fire. They are holding teams to under 20 points. I mean, just week after week. It's incredible.
Yeah,
and
they had the Seattle game that didn't mean anything, but before that, it was 9 points exactly in 3 straight weeks.
Is that not insane? That's crazy. And you look at Philly's got a great defense, man, but the Rams right now might have a better one. I didn't see a whole lot from that Eagles offense. That would show me that the Rams are concerned about it, but that's a completely different ball game because Philly is good. I can't wait to watch it, man. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. So let's just jump right into this weekend then. So, I was maybe expecting to see a little bit tighter lines than what we have so far if we're just looking at the individual games. I guess I'm mildly surprised to see Detroit as 10-point favorites at the moment over Washington. Phillies by 6 over the Rams. Obviously, the Ravens and Bills, we're going to get to that one. That's tight. The Chiefs are deservedly a touchdown and a hook favorite against the Texans this weekend. What stands out to you about the board as you look at it on Tuesday?
Excuse me. Yeah, exactly what you just said. Right, even the Eagles are 6-point favorites. Yeah. Right, I think something around them. Some pretty big spreads. And here's the interesting part. All right, so that total, you just mentioned, the Lions, they're 10-point favorites. Okay, what's the total? 55.5.
You nailed it. 55.5.
Okay, so blowouts lead to unders, right? So it's that's a massive total. And if you're expecting even Detroit to be around, say they win by 9, they don't cover, right? Generally, when you have a team win by more than a touchdown, you're looking at an under game, and that's a total in the 40s. You know what I mean?
Right.
Look at last night. You're talking about 55.5. Man, that's a big, big number. So that one stands out. We just talked about the defenses. Dude, Kansas City's been doing it with their defense for a while, man. Spags has done a hell of a job again out there. And not that, Mahomes and the offense hasn't, but their defense has been playing so good. so that you look at it, it's like, man, I don't know how many points Houston honestly can really score.
Yeah,
you know,
the total for that one is 41.5, which is
that one makes sense.
Yeah, pretty comically low. But at the same time, I could definitely see the winner of the game being in the low 20s, and that's basically what you're predicting here.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be cold. You know, I don't know what the weather's going to be like exactly, but it's not going to be, you know, in a dome in Houston, right? So it's like, all right,
Kansas City, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that one, that total, that's normal. So look at that, and then look at Washington and Detroit. Like if the books are saying, okay, Detroit's going to win 49-7. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's going to happen there. So yeah, that Lions and Commanders game stands out a lot. And what's the third game? Oh, the Bills and the Ravens.
Yeah,
dude. Like
that's
oh my God. So is the MVP on the line? Like, I don't know when the cutoff for voting is, but you've got Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, literally, does the winner of this game win MVP?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe Josh Allen has done like too much to strengthen the gap at this point. But I mean, it's such a big narrative game, I think, for both of them too. And it's obviously with Lamar and his playoff struggles and the way that these two teams have been playing, how physical they are, the way they run the ball. I don't know. It's just such a fun matchup. That game is so exciting.
It is, and like for exactly what you just said, like all of that, both teams have the, we got to get a Super Bowl, we got to, whatever. So you take all of that, and then theoretically, what we're projecting is that whoever wins that is going to Kansas City, right? Like you've got a slay dragon in front of you, man. Like that's the interesting part is that whoever the hell gets out of the AFC, like the NFC is going to be probably favorited in the Super Bowl. If we get Detroit or like, they'll probably be a favorite.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, dude, that team, whoever comes out of the AFC is going to have earned it. You know what I mean? So these playoffs, I know that the wild card round is a lot of blowouts, but dude, it gets real this weekend, man.
Yeah, it really is. I was trying to look and see if anybody had like some look. I guess it's too early, like 1 week early, to do look aheads for the Super Bowl. But I am curious about what you just said about what some of the lines might look like for the Super Bowl.
Well, who are the favorites? Yeah, because I'm with you. Okay, so like I don't have it in front of me, but if you look at like right now, like
it's Detroit. It's Detroit at plus 290. At Kansas City 350.
All right, who's 3?
Philly 420.
Okay, 420. And what did you say Kansas City was?
350.
Ooh, all right. So that's a pretty big gap. All right, so we're assuming if the Lions get there, then that they would be probably a 2.5 point favorite if it were them in Kansas City.
That's the way it sort of looks. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's Kansas City and Philly, I mean, you're almost looking at like a pick 'em, like Kansas City -1.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, like that's fascinating to look at. But it's like, here's the other thing too. I feel like a big team is going to get knocked out this weekend. I mean, obviously Baltimore and Buffalo, like one of them has to, but I don't like. I'm worried that there's going to be a team that slips up, man. And I don't know who it is because the NFL playoffs are crazy, but they're the best for a reason.
Right. Okay. So if you're trying to whittle that down, you're looking at, because like you said, it's a wash between the Ravens or Bills. One of them's moving on, one of them's going home. You're looking at, Philly, I think could easily lose to the Rams. I'm not quite convinced that Washington can beat the Lions, but maybe somebody can make a case for that. And I really don't see Houston beating the Chiefs. So you're probably down to the 2 NFC bigwigs, which actually makes sense the way that I've thought about sort of these teams all year long.
I think you're right. Like, it would take a catastrophic fallout for Kansas City. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that that's going to happen. And nothing against the Texans, but like, it would take catastrophic. I'm with you. I think that, LA is definitely a dangerous risk right there. And Washington, I'm with you. Like, it would take a huge just screw up game for Detroit, right? Like, I don't like Washington can score with you some. Yeah. That's the problem, though. Is it's like Detroit never die either. Like, they could be down 17 in the fourth quarter, and then it's immediately a tie game. You're like, whoa, how did that?
The thing with them though, Allan, is that they they are liable at times to do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
That could mess you up in the playoffs. That's been so far all about like ball control. Like every team, and I guess I didn't look at it for last night, but yeah, I mean the Rams would have certainly won that. Like every team that won time of possession won.
Can I tell you
right?
Oh, I know you're right. But can I tell you my favorite thing of the playoffs so far?
Yeah,
my favorite thing. Dan Quinn loves the backwards dad hat. He loves wearing that hat back. That's his favorite move. Like,
he does.
When he's grilling out in the backyard, backwards dad hat. Like that's when you know if you're his kid, like to ask him for a new bike or something. When the backward dad's hat is there, like that's when he's at his happiest, man. He loves it.
He rocks it too. It's the only way. It's the only way he knows. Maybe the backwards dad hat gets him into the NFC Championship game. Who knows?
You think so? Like, and it's funny watching because when you watch a Commanders game, it looks like Kingsbury's the head coach and Quinn's the defensive coordinator. Like that's what it looks like. It's hilarious.
It's fantastic. Oh, Allan, I am so much looking forward to this weekend. This is going to be so good. I think I'm with you that somebody unexpectedly is going home. I mean that's going to be our jobs for the next several days. Figure out who it's going to be.
It is, my friend. It is.
All right, AB. Appreciate it as always, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, brother. Be good.
Allan Bell. You can find his stuff on Driving the Line, the AB3. Look at this. He's got the Sam Darnold pass charts. Like, hey, Sam Darnold, don't throw it here. You're going to get intercepted.
Areas.
And look at what happened.
He threw to those areas.
Yeah. Also looked like he was on some like. Was it the group was on like some Daimi Brown first touchdown in the Commanders, the football Commanders game?
Yes, I saw one guy.
Dear Lord, these guys are nuts.
And I mean, they had it.
I know. I mean, to even get that close, you just chalk that up as like, we got the job done. So, all right, let me go to his pick tracker real quick. Let's see how we're cooking here during the playoffs for Allan, or if he's updated it, because the playoffs could get a little warm. You know what I mean? All right.
This guy here, while you're looking that up, this guy tweeted in like, hey, I also had Daimi Brown first touchdown score plus 3,000. How do you just...
That's a Josh Odson pick.
That is. That's a big number.
It's a Josh Odson pick, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So last night, and I don't know if these hit or not. Vikings Rams punt downed inside the 5-yard line. I believe that happened.
Yep.
That was plus 200. Stafford to throw a pick. Did Stafford throw a pick last night? Well, there was he didn't throw a pick, but there was the stupid intentional grounding thing. Which should we talk about that?
We can, sure.
So that was really interesting. And they said that Puka Nacua was in the area. Otherwise, it would have been intentional grounding or it would have been, a fumble and a turnover. But having Puka Nacua there, like, kind of saved that situation for them. Okay, anyway, I guess we talked about it. So Stafford didn't throw a pick last night. Cooper Kupp, longest reception over 19.5. That definitely happened. And Jordan Addison, longest reception over 23.5. I'm not sure if that happened or not. When the Vikings were on offense, I was just like, oh, God, Sam Darnold, are you okay?
He was not.
No, he wasn't. All right. Can't wait till wild card. Well, I guess we already waited till wild card weekend. Can't wait till divisional weekend. Who's going down, Josh? If you take out, if it's a wash in the Ravens Bills right now, you don't have to lock this in. All right. I'm asking you on Tuesday. Chiefs, Lions, Eagles. Do we go 3 for 3? Are they all making it through?
Die, Eagles, die.
Rams do have a little something to them, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Something going on there.
A little something there.
And they got this Super Bowl pedigree, too, right? They've done this before, even though it's different. Although Stafford's the same. But they've done this before. That is definitely the team out of Texans, Commanders, Rams, the opposite sides of all of those games. That is, for me, the team you want to see the least, the Rams.
Now, these two teams did play in LA.
Yep.
Eagles won by 17.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
Oh, Saquon ran for 255 yards.
Well, he tended to do that this year.
That's a lot of yards, though.
At various points.
Okay. Puka and Cooper did play for the Rams.
Stafford played.
A.J. Brown, 109 yards receiving. That doesn't happen
concerning
anymore.
to you? This was I
think the Rams have figured some things out. I feel like the Eagles' offense has also gotten a little, let's call it conservative.
Well, they're just that's the thing. They're always going to be looked at as the vulnerable team because they're just more one-dimensional than everybody else.
Yeah.
Right? At the same time, they do the things that keep you in the playoffs. They don't screw up. They freaking never turn it over, and they have a good defense.
I am interested what happened. The Rams have figured out some things on that D-line, though.
Oh, yeah. Jared Verse is a star.
Yeah.
All right. We're back. Josh has the odd news coming up on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
I guess it's true, Josh. Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Proved it to be right.
We were just talking about that Rams-Eagles game, and I figured out that I would have been in Vegas watching all of the NFL games that day. I could not have missed it. I absolutely watched it.
But
it's wiped blank from my memory. My brain doesn't have any recollection of it.
Week 12.
I'm sure Josh Peterson would probably remember every weird detail.
Oh yeah, there was an offsides call. Really changed the game, but this early in the second quarter.
How about this stat from, before we get to the odd news, from Abby Barmore of Husker Online. Abby covers women's sports at Nebraska, volleyball as well, or volleyball included in that. Nebraska volleyball next year will have 7 former Gatorade Players of the Year on its roster.
Now, Connor, I'm not an X's and O's guy.
And 2 of which were national winners of the award.
How many on the floor at the same time in that sport?
Josh, I believe you get 7? 6? Are you asking?
Is it 6 or 7?
Thanks.
I thought for sure you'd know the answer.
This is why I say no to doing volleyball games.
6.
All right. 6. Watched a lot.
That's less than.
Yeah, they're not all going to be on the court at the same time.
Yeah.
But because most of them, I mean, a lot of them are freshmen. But yep. Many Gatorade Players of the Year. Lots of talent on that team, right?
A lot of Gatorade.
Baymon says, wow, guys.
I was pretty sure it was 6, and then you said 7.
Well, you should have just said 6 and spared me from looking like an idiot.
I'm sorry. I thought you knew more than me.
No, I don't.
Okay.
I should have.
Okay.
That was I watched a lot of volleyball this year, and I never thought to count how many there were.
I should have known the guy who doesn't respect the Minnesota Lynx titles.
No, I know that they have 5 on the court at the time in basketball.
Okay. Well, you watch a lot of that.
Women's basketball.
In person.
Yes. All right, Josh, what's going on in the odd news
If
today?
I tell you the name Wolf Blitzer, do you know who I'm talking about?
Thank you for bringing up this story.
It's
because
so
I
relatable.
thought about it last night. No, it's not relatable. That's the thing. Please, do you have the picture of Wolf Blitzer? I will find it.
Okay.
I will go get it, and you explain the story.
Wolf Blitzer is I believe he still works at CNN. Don't quote me on that. It's kind of like our volleyball knowledge. Wolf Blitzer, CNN reporter, anchorman. He was enjoying the Buffalo Bills' current playoff run a lot like he did in 1994 because he was watching it on a very old television.
He was.
He tweeted a picture of himself in front of his television watching the 31-7 Bills win over the Broncos in a game that nobody should have thought was close. I don't know why any of you thought the Broncos were going to win that game, but back to the story. His entertainment center featured a small Sharp brand television complete with a DVD VCR combo.
Yep.
A bit out of date.
Now, this picture that I'm about to bring up on the YouTube does not picture the DVD VCR combo.
Okay.
But it does feature the television and with which Wolf Blitzer was watching on. And there it is.
Look at that. Butte. She's a Butte, Clark.
Wolf Blitzer, very happy about watching the Bills on his computer monitor.
Luckily for the 76-year-old, a spokesperson for TCL saw this photo and said, "No mas. We cannot have Wolf Blitzer a man who told
They
us
sent Wolf Blitzer a TV?
They sent Wolf Blitzer a 98-inch television.
Oh, come on. He doesn't want that.
Oh, I'm sorry. They offered him any television he wanted within their line, which included a television that is 98 inches. So anywhere up to 98 inches. No word on whether or not he took the offer, but free television, why would you not?
I don't think he'll take it.
I don't think he will. I think he has too much integrity.
If you've had that TV paired along with the VCR and DVD player combo for that long, you're not getting the new TV. You're Wolf Blitzer.
Guys, if I get a new TV...
Why does Wolf Blitzer need to watch TV? He is TV.
He is TV. And look, kids, every Independence Day, we gather around this baby, and I pop in my 2 VHS set of Glory, starring Matthew Broderick and Denzel Washington. Wherever could we watch Glory now if I get rid of this television?
Definitely can't stream it.
Literally anywhere, Grandpa.
Nope. You got to watch it on my tiny TV.
That's right.
Check out my new plasma TV. Michael Scott pulling the TV off the wall.
Other shows talk about their large age gaps. We're the most normal show on this radio station. So we
are close in age, relatively.
Yes, allow us to point out the foibles.
Although I seem a lot older than you at times, and you're actually older than me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
A new poll is out, and it talks about the struggles of everyday life for Gen Z. They surveyed 2,000 grown-ups. 25% of those 2,000. I'm not a math whiz. Somebody tell me how many people that was. That 500? 500 people?
25% of 2,000?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Had no idea how to change a light bulb.
What do you mean how to change a light bulb?
They don't. 25% of this very small sample size, admittedly, of Gen Zers don't know how to change a light bulb. They don't know how. They
got 2,000 Gen Zers and 500 of them said, "What is that? I don't know what to do with that."
I don't know what to do with that. Climbing a ladder is too dangerous. 1 in 5 worried that the bulb might be too hot.
I appreciate the Gen Zers because they keep many people employed.
Electricians, your job's going to get a lot easier here in about 15 years.
DoorDash drivers, things like that. Like, thank you. Baymont says 20% of them are probably trolling. That actually might be true. Gen Zers love to troll on the internet. What's a light bulb? I'm just a Gen Zer.
Well, I guess I get in this voting booth and vote for the funniest possible candidate.
Did you see that? Well, we don't have time. I don't. Okay, give me the last one.
Pineapple on pizza. It's a very controversial issue,
and it's not because it's stupid.
Us here on 1620 The Zone would never comment on such a divisive food issue. One pizzeria in England is charging people $121 to put pineapple on their pizza.
Good.
Because they loathe the topping.
That's right. Idiot tax.
Essentially is. It started out as a joke, but people have said, hey, great job. Keep doing that.
Idiot tax. That's what it should be called.
A Florida-based chain called Stoner's Pizza Joint. A lot of follow-up questions there. Has taken this idea to the States. They have 52 locations in 7 states, and they are also charging you $121 to put pineapple on pizza.
That's what I'm talking about.
You like that?
I do. I love it.
Hey, man, it's your pie. You do what you want with it.
Except put pineapple on it.
I mean, you can. Wouldn't be my first choice if it's there.
Now you do got to keep you have to keep the idiots in your family or whatever, the people that you're with, happy, right? So you sometimes say, all right, fine, you can put pineapple on half the pizza.
Okay.
If that's the case, then I don't want to pay a premium to put pineapple on half the pizza.
No.
Because I'm explaining to you that I don't want pineapple on the full pizza, which would soil the pizza.
I would never say, oh, we need to get a Hawaiian pizza.
No, nobody would say
If it's there, I will eat it. I'm not choosing it.
Josh, thanks.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. We'll return for the noon hour coming up on 1620 The Zone.
He gives you the latest sports news, interviews, and life-changing commentary with a smile on his face. Because he wears those ticklish underpants.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
I will check in with Coach Prime. Speaking of ticklish underpants.
He wearing them too?
I don't think he has those.
He'd probably be a pitch man for him if he was.
We'll check in with Coach Prime in a couple minutes, and we'll check on some TV ratings as well. Does anybody even like the playoff anymore?
Unlikely.
Apparently not. Nobody watches. But first, we have to address a very good question from the very good YouTube comments.
Those are our people.
Also, I have one request. Can we do the rest of the show with Wolf Blitzer up?
Fine by me. He's so proud of that score. Like,
it's amazing that he's that
Bills.
way, and his name is Wolf Blitzer.
This is for my buddy Tim Russer. Tim loved the Bills. Timmy?
All right, here's a question from Travis.
Hi, Travis.
If Connor had no other choice but to eat either a pineapple pizza or a buffalo chicken pizza, which would he choose? And I thought about
You
this.
famously hate both.
Yes, but I hate them differently.
Okay.
So let me explain. Buffalo chicken pizza is a principle to me. The principle is that buffalo chicken is in too many places. And it should not be, and pizza is one of those places that it is spread onto. It should not be on the pizza. It's a principled stance. It's not that I dislike buffalo chicken.
Okay.
I like buffalo chicken, but I hate that it's everywhere. Is that clear what my opinion is on buffalo chicken?
I always knew, but
I just
some
wanted
in
to,
the audience don't listen.
I needed to make it clear. Right? I don't mind that buffalo chicken, the taste of buffalo chicken. I do mind the taste of pineapple on top of a pizza.
Oh, wow.
So this brings in quite the choice for me. Do I continue to be a man of faith?
Oh, there's a deep drive to left.
Of morals, of value, of I cannot go against my principle? Or do I say, bleep that, just give me the better tasting thing? It's quite the thought exercise.
We love a thought exercise.
It's like, would you kill somebody if you knew you were going to get away with it and you got $2 million? Yeah, but it's the principle, right? I'm against killing.
Okay, so you're against.
I would not kill it. I would not kill. Would not kill. This is just like that question. It's basically the same thing. I think that I would have to. I was almost going to say that I think that I would have to go against my principle and just take the better tasting thing, because that goes back to my take.
Seems like the answer.
Because that goes back to my take about how every meal is so important to me. And if I really think that every meal is so important to me and I want every meal as a gift, then how would I waste it on something that I knew tasted so abhorrent, like pineapple on a pizza?
Do you really spend all day cross-examining your own takes like this?
I strive.
Terrible way to live.
I strive for consistency, Josh.
I mean, that's very admirable.
I
Don't get me
strive
wrong.
for consistency. I want to be consistent.
I live in the Stephen A. Smith model where I just do whatever the hell I want.
You have no morals. You have no morals whatsoever. You would murder for $2 million, and if you got away with it,
look,
you would. Of course, you would.
I have a mortgage. I have a family.
So you would eat the buffalo chicken pizza if you were in my shoes. You wouldn't even think about it, really, and you would eat the buffalo chicken
I'd eat it.
pizza.
Those are both fine pizzas.
No, but if you were me,
if
you were me, you would not even think about it, and you would eat the buffalo chicken pizza. And you were me, and you knew the things about me.
Yeah, that's the one. If I was you in your shoes, that's the way that I would probably decide. Yes.
I think ultimately I would eat the buffalo chicken pizza in private.
Okay.
Because if I'm eating a pizza in private, like I want it to taste halfway decent, right? Buffalo chicken pizza is fine.
We got him, everybody!
In private. You would never watch me eat a buffalo chicken pizza. I can tell you that. And we're going to have waiters around town sneaking buffalo chicken onto my pizza.
Hey,
saying, "Ah!"
If you want to come into the back, we've got a pie for you.
What are the comments saying about this?
Baymon says, I apparently need to rethink my buffalo chicken cereal. Ken says, buffalo chicken on a pretzel bun.
What does that mean?
I believe that's a place where you could find buffalo chicken.
Oh, well, I don't know what Ken's saying. I'm not sure what Ken is trying to say.
I don't want to put words in Ken's
I don't know
mouth.
what Ken is trying to say.
CJ, I would never overthink such a mid-child food as pizza. It's just pizza.
Once again, I'm just going by what Matt Rule says, man. I try to live by some of these principles. And, when he said, or maybe he didn't say this, but when he said, everything is nothing and nothing is everything, that really spoke to me, right? I try to live in the sense that everything is everything, or that nothing is everything, right? Like every decision that you make is important, and you want to make the best decision you possibly can with the information that you have and the best choices for yourself. Everything matters. And so if I say that every meal matters and every lunch matters, then why would I eat a pineapple on a pizza? That would be crazy. That would just be telling the world that it clearly doesn't matter and you would eat garbage.
I do admire you trying to not contradict yourself like so many talking heads seem to do in this day and age.
Thank you.
Ken clarifies his statement.
I thought that's where he was going.
Pretzel buns are everywhere. I'm adverse to them in the same way Connor dislikes buffalo chicken.
Pretzel buns are in too many places. I agree.
Yeah, that's a good take.
You don't need to put a burger on a pretzel bun. That's ridiculous. Just give me a burger on a burger bun.
Good take. Good take. Strong.
Okay. Yeah, that's my answer. It was hard, but that is my answer.
I'm glad you got there.
Me too.
You were really...
I don't like answering questions like that because it puts me in a bad spot.
You were really wringing your hands of it during the break, and you were like, I got it. I know where I want to go.
Coach Prime. Josh, I haven't heard this in a while. Should we hit this?
Fire it up.
All right.
See you. Let me do this again so we get a clean take. But we know what we want, and we're going to get it. I'm a head coach. We sold out. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever. Whatever angle you take, it helps.
You best be settling in now, partner, because it's time for another Coach Prime update.
Young folks got a saying now, I'm him.
On the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
I really don't like Yellowstone, but it did have a pretty fire theme.
I made the best out of it.
You did a good job with that.
Thank you.
But will he have to trade his ranching hat in for a real life cowboy hat? That being Coach Prime. I don't think the hats are very different at all. Actually, I shouldn't speak on whether the hats are different at all because that's not a toe that I want to dip my. That's not a water I want to dip my toe into.
Smart. We don't need the sunglasses avatar crowd coming after us.
A lot of buzz yesterday after Mike McCarthy was fired or let go or mutually parted ways.
Free agency.
Yeah, he's hit free agency. That one Deion Sanders could potentially be a candidate for the job, and Jera is just crazy enough to be the guy who wants him. To that point, it's hard to disagree. It's hard to disagree.
Everybody criticized him yesterday for doing it late, so he missed out on all the hot candidates in the interview cycle.
But maybe Jera is just so crazy that he's already got something up his sleeve.
And this would be the only coach he needs to interview because it qualifies for the Rooney Rule.
Wow.
What?
I guess. You're right. Well, don't you have to interview? Is there rules outside of that you have to interview like a certain amount of candidates for the job?
Maybe they've modified it.
Okay. All right. I don't know. Here is a tweet from Adam Schefter last night. It's a quote from Deion Sanders. Schefter, he texted Deion, and here's what Deion said.
Wow.
To hear from Jerry Jones is truly delightful, and it's intriguing. I love Jerry and believe in Jerry. This is from Coach Prime. After you hang up and process it and think about it, it's intriguing. But I love Boulder, and everything there is about our team, the coaches, and our student body in the community. End quote. So, Josh, let's play a little game of what does that mean?
Every time he talks.
It's one of my favorite games.
Yeah,
what does that mean? It's almost as good as why did that guy say that thing? What does that mean? I can tell you what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean no.
Yeah, I didn't hear a no in there.
It also doesn't mean yes for the time being either. Is this, let's play another game. Is this real? Is this a real thing that we're dealing with?
So yesterday we kind of brought it up very, very quickly.
Uh-huh.
And we both sort of immediately dismissed it. I think this might be realer than I thought yesterday. I think this might have some legs. I didn't think Coach Prime would be able to, quote unquote, work in those conditions because he doesn't actually have any power whatsoever there.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think he's like an actual coach. I think he hired a better staff for himself this year.
I want to talk. Let's talk about that piece of it.
He knows a couple positions very well.
So, do we agree that the Dallas job in particular is formatted differently than pretty much every other NFL job, considering what is expected of their head coach? Not from a win-loss perspective, but from the situation that you walk into with the owner and how hands-on the owner is.
The owner has a weekly radio show where he will be talking about you each and every week.
So the Dallas job is different from just about every other job in the NFL. So you almost take that aside. The question that you'd be wondering from a normal perspective, a normal NFL job, and that you would have to apply to being, I don't know, the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, right? Which they feel like they're going to back channel their way into getting Ben Johnson, it feels like. Shout out to Tom Brady and working on that Fox crew and doing that game this week. Definitely not a conflict of interest.
He'll definitely be the most informed person.
But you apply normal things to other jobs. Like, is Deion Sanders a viable NFL head coach? This is a question that you don't have to ask yourself if you were looking to hire him as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. It's just different. I don't know. You could phrase it whichever way you want.
Yeah,
it just means more. I don't know. It's a total wild card of a situation. And does that make it more likely that Deion Sanders could be a viable candidate for this job in particular? Or maybe I should say, will ultimately get hired at this job? Yes. It does make it more likely that he could get that job in particular.
Asian Joe. But he runs the Colorado program like he's an NFL coach. Since he wasn't about developing or recruiting, he just wanted the best free agents and to spew motivational tactics as the team's CEO.
Okay, so let's talk about that. If you think Deion Sanders is now, once again, take the Dallas part out of this, because once again, the Dallas part is just weird. If you think Deion Sanders' logical next jump is to be an NFL head coach, you think he's a viable NFL head coach candidate, then You also likely think that he's a viable candidate for a bigger college job. And for me, if I'm trying to jump in Deion Sanders' shoes, the bigger college job is infinitely more intriguing to me.
Yes, more.
Now, what happens, how do you get to where you want to go? There is qualifications and there's fit and there's also opportunity. Is there opportunity for Deion Sanders to jump at this moment to a bigger college job? Doesn't seem like it.
Right.
Doesn't seem like it. So maybe that will lead you to the NFL for him. That's if you think he's going to leave Colorado. In my opinion, I actually think he's a better fit for college. Because what happened, like what he did when he took over Colorado is he made it Coach Prime University, right? That is a draw for college kids.
To a kid in the portal who,
and he is allowed to do that, right? There is a certain letter of the law you have to play by in the NFL. But once again, that's applying normal circumstances for it. But do you think Jared Jones would say Deion Sanders is Dallas and Dallas is Deion Sanders?
Yes.
And whatever Deion Sanders says goes. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that part.
Right?
But if I'm Deion Sanders, boy, aren't we at a tipping point where if I'm not a good coach, they're about to find out, and I might want to hit that ejector button before they find out.
See, but I don't think those rules like apply to Deion. Like somebody commented it on YouTube. Josh, he says, dude hates to recruit. He hasn't left Boulder since he's been there. NFL's so much more appealing in this new world of college football. I think he's found a way around that. Like what he said at the start was, why do I have to go anywhere? They'll come to me. Guys, I know we think he's full of crap and he's a self-promoter and all this stuff. Like, sure, but that is correct.
Yes.
That is correct. Now, I don't know about creating a national championship contender at the place that he's at, but that brings in the different college job. If you are allowed to do what he has been allowed to do at Colorado, which is once again turn the University of Colorado into Coach Prime University, then you're already everywhere. You don't have to go into a kid's living room. It is more meaningful if you do so, but he doesn't have to. He's brought people in around him. I don't know whether those people are good or not, but like the brand of what they're doing has been enough to get better players than I thought was going to be the case. Like you said, Josh, though, notably, he's going to be without his son, who was a pretty good quarterback over the last couple of years going forward.
Now you got the 5-star to come in.
They got the 5-star. They got a transfer. They're going to have competition there. Weird. We haven't talked about this in a while, but like, I actually think he's a better fit for college.
He's definitely a better fit for college, but this might be the situation where he's like,
So now we're asking you to put yourself in Coach Prime's shoes. Which only need to fit 8 toes.
That's Ralphie has 8 toes. Before he went to Jackson State, he opined publicly about, I would like to be an NFL head coach. And they said, yeah, they don't really let keep in mind, this was a different time.
Yeah.
They don't really let players just become NFL head coaches. You have to work your way up a little bit. And he said, no, why should I have to work my way up? I'm Deion Sanders. So like, I still have that in the back of my head every time a story like this comes up. We're like,
and he's got a little proof now.
This is kind of what he wanted the whole time, is to presumably be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, quite frankly. And here it is. Maybe he wanted to be the coach of the Atlanta Falcons the whole time, but probably not.
Yeah. I don't know. That might seem more appealing in some ways, less appealing, but he seems to have a good relationship with Jera.
I thought he was going to go to Atlanta the last time he had a choice of job.
So if we're looking at it from his perspective, maybe you're right. Like maybe that was the end game all along. But I believe him when he says he likes Colorado. And I also think, looking from the outside, not being in Deion's shoes, I just think what he's doing works as well as it can work where he's at right now. Like it's honestly, this is one of the things we mentioned at the time when he got the job. It's such an interesting fit, but it wasn't really about fit, right? It's in the sense that his boss, Rick George, will allow him to do whatever he needs to do. That means commercials, right?
You
That'd be
hang around with Nick Saban in the Affleck commercials. That's fine. You want to have a talk
Netflix
show on
television
TV that
show.
no one's ever watched?
Exactly.
Yeah, you'd go ahead and do that.
You want to do documentaries? That's cool. We get the added benefit of you being our head coach, and we get players and attention on our university. And boy, has that ever been the case. But like you said, there's a little bit of a line drawn in the sand right now. And a YouTube commenter said, well, it was the same guy, Josh. His way around that is to have two generational players that are now gone. Shedeur Sanders is not a generational player. Travis Hunter might be. Travis Hunter is a generational talent.
Shedeur is going to be a top 3 draft pick.
Shedeur Sanders is not a generational football player. Shedeur Sanders is a good football player. Right? That's honestly, that's not giving Deion and his staff enough credit for what has happened over the last couple of years.
Now, you can spin this positively or negatively with those two players that are both of a high caliber. Let's
yes,
middle
sure.
there.
You could put them in the category there.
They almost made the Big 12 championship game. You can spin that as, well, if we had a little more depth, we would have made it. Or you could spin it and say, you had those two guys and didn't do much with it.
Yeah.
Like, so do I stay or do I go? Push and pull.
It's curious.
Also,
I think all the options for him are on the table, including staying at Colorado.
I will say this. If he becomes the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, whatever you think of ESPN today,
oh my God,
we will all agree
it's gonna be
that it will be unwatchable.
Oh my God. The whole thing will be buffalo chicken pizza.
It will. Now also, maybe Shefty's going into business for his employer and saying that this has legs when it doesn't. We do have to consider that.
Coach, I mean, if he talked to Deion Sanders, that's the quote. All he did was publish the quote.
Is the full quote?
And I'm sure well, that's a good question. And I know Schefter's been talking on various programs throughout the day as well, trying to characterize the situation. But I just think it's hard to.
Without either side saying definitively yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's definitely some roads being built at this point to where they're headed next. Where that is, I don't have any idea. It's the road to nowhere for Jera.
Who's going to take that job?
I don't know.
It's going to be Kellen Moore or Deion Sanders, right?
Deion Sanders seems to be the only person who like,
oh, I'll do that job, sure.
Well, but it's one thing to have a good relationship with Jerry Jones. I'm sure many people would say that they have good relationships with Jerry Jones.
I can work with him.
Yeah. But like, it's another thing to have reverence for Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many people out there who have reverence for Jerry Jones anymore. Does Deion Sanders have reverence for Jerry Jones?
The Adam Schefter quote sure makes it seem like he has a lot of reverence.
I know. That's weird.
I can reform your image, Jera.
Because also this year there's a Netflix documentary that's going to drop. It's like 5 or 6 parts, and it's going to make you look terrible. You're going to want a guy like me in your corner, Jera.
Oh boy, that is an interesting one to follow, and we will continue to do so. I can't wait to see which road we turn on next. What's that? That's a one-way street, and I'm supposed to be going the other way?
Oh no,
that's weird. All right, we're back with more coming up on 1620 The Zone. Oh, very sad news, Josh. The college football playoff is dead.
Oh, but we're not even through.
I know. It's hard to believe.
Wow.
But the ratings are down, and you know what happens when the ratings are down. It's dead.
Tweak it.
Nobody's watching it anymore. Who cares about it? It's woke nonsense.
Go woke, go broke. That's what the college football playoff did.
According to Sports Business Journal, Texas and Ohio State drew 20.6 million viewers across ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPNU. The prior night's Orange Bowl between Notre Dame and Penn State drew 17.8 million viewers across
paltry
the same networks. The two games declined substantially from last year's semifinals, which was the final season played under the 4-team format. Those games, which were on New Year's Day, averaged 23.27 million viewers, marking a 17% year-over-year decline. It's supposed to go up, Josh, not down.
17% is a big number.
The Washington, Texas Sugar Bowl last year got 18.77 million viewers, and the Michigan-Alabama Rose Bowl was a monster, 27.76 million viewers.
Whoa.
So, why? What has happened here? I believe that it's not rocket science, but I'll try to explain it.
No SEC teams.
That is factually incorrect and incorrect.
I don't know.
There was an SEC team, Josh, in the semifinals.
Name
Once again,
one.
Texas. Texas.
That's a SWAC
They're
team,
in the
and you know it.
It's a Southwest Conference. Okay, it's different.
Okay.
The formula to do a monster number in sports is this, and everybody knows it. Big brands or players plus.
I feel like they check that box, right?
Totally. Check. Plus stakes. Check. Plus timing. Timing, Josh. Remember when Creighton and DePaul played on Christmas and it was the most watched college basketball game of the year?
Yeah. Ryan Kalkbrenner effect.
That game had none of the other things.
Oh, no.
It had no brands. It had no stakes.
Whoa.
But it had timing. And guess what?
America left their TV on after a Packers game.
The timing is pretty important here. The timing is something that the CFP is going to have to grapple with here. And the timing is this year, the semifinal games were played on Thursday and Friday nights of a normal working week because they didn't want to compete with the NFL over the weekend.
Now, theoretically, that will always be the schedule, right?
That will be the schedule going forward.
Assuming there's no tweaks, but obviously it sounds like there's going to be.
Right. Next year, the format will be the same. There will be different bowls. The Fiesta Bowl will be on Thursday night, and the Peach Bowl will be on Friday night.
It doesn't matter.
It's not the bowls.
I don't.
Yeah, it's not the bowls, but it's the Thursday and Friday of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. I mean, we talked about this a lot over the summer when we talked about Fox doing college football games on Fridays. Notoriously, nobody watches TV on Fridays.
Yes.
That's always been the thought about television.
That's why Blue Bloods was able to be on for 37 years before anyone knew about it. And they said, hold on, Tom. You and your mustache coming to this office.
So the lesson here is you could put as big of a stake and as big of a brand. I mean, you put Ohio State and Texas with a national championship game berth on the line.
Yeah, that should have been a sweet number.
That should have been a monster number.
Huh.
But the timing was it got put on Friday night. It was the I'm looking for the stat in this article. It was I believe it was like the most watched Friday anything like in a long time or something like that, which makes sense. But once again, it's Friday. And what do we know about the college football playoff? What do we know about college football? That it's all driven by money and it's all driven by TV.
Follow the money, Happer.
Just follow the money. Follow the TV.
TV runs the sport now, Connor. I don't know if you heard this.
And it's a fair point, and it's a good thing to remember in this case. Because will college football get annoyed by the fact that they're leaving potentially tens of millions of viewers on the table, not taking them? by putting these games on normal working days on Thursdays and Fridays.
Huh. I mean, no, they won't. They won't take this lying down.
Correct. So what do? What do they do going forward? Or do they play the long game? That's not usually something that we do these days, Josh. We usually like to overreact and make changes as fast as we could possibly make them. But the long game would be here. Wait for the Thursday and Friday to become established college football
That's the day,
days.
everybody. That's the day.
Right.
Like it literally.
We decided that now it worked out that New Year's Day was college football's day for a long time, but it's also a day where nobody works and everybody watches television.
That's right.
So you married those two together, and born was the Rose Bowl, right? So, and then the Rose Bowl brand and all of those things. So does college football say we're going to play our semifinals on Thursday and Friday night? Damn it, and you will watch, and you're just going to have to get used to it. But that takes a long time.
That does.
It's not something that you probably, it's not something that you, because what you're looking for to get the monster numbers is to get the casual viewer or the person who leaves their television on.
Also a path. Yes.
Yeah. And it's just, you're not getting any of those on Friday night. By the way, I found the stat. According to John Lewis of Sports Media Watch, the game between Ohio State and Texas was the most watched Friday television program in more than 4 years since the Vikings and the Saints played on Christmas, which was a Friday in 2020, which almost doesn't count. That would have been, I believe, the same day as that historic Creighton DePaul game. Maybe that was 2021. Maybe that was 2021. Anyway, keep going.
What was on the Monday, the day after game 272, Vikings Lions?
Nothing.
Would that be a spot that Monday for one of the semifinals?
So you're talking about
would that add
January 6th?
Well, hey. That's not what I'm talking about.
Josh wants to talk about what was on TV January 6th.
That date doesn't add up to do a semifinal, does it?
It would be a short week. It would be an exorbitantly short week.
Yeah, we don't want that for the players.
Because that would be
the student athletes.
That would be 6 days after New Year's Eve, and that would be 5 days after New Year's Day.
That's pretty tight. I mean, that Monday might be a good spot to put a game.
Yeah, I mean, Monday has proven to be an extension of the weekend from a television standpoint. But Friday, it's just different. So I think the course of action here.
When would you put the other game?
I think the course of action here would be to stick with it.
Yeah.
Because it's the thing that makes sense. Now, at the same time, like you said, Josh, it's the sort of elephant in the room in this conversation. The format's probably going to change, and at which point you'll have to. I mean, at some point, and Scott Docterman,
Scotty D.
He wrote a whole big story that basically just redid college football's calendar on The Athletic.
I have not read it.
And so, like, eventually that's going to happen. I think we're gonna all come together here. We're gonna all agree on some things. And we are going to redo the entire sport.
We're going to get the calendar right.
We're going to figure out the calendar.
Screw your academics.
But then the question there is, what's your anchor point? Like, what is the thing that you have to have? Is it the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day? Or like, is it college football's biggest day being the Rose Bowl? And then you have to decide, or being New Year's Day, then you have to decide what your biggest day is. Because New Year's Day this year was the day that everybody was virtually punching each other in the face for having 3 blowouts.
Yes.
Coming off of the night before, which was the horribly disgusting act of Indiana losing by 10 to Notre Dame.
Remember when we thought that was a national travesty?
Yeah.
Myself included. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's probably going to be your start of your playoff, right? And MLK Day is probably always going to be the end of your playoff. Now you got to find the in-between spots to pop a number. Do you even try going up against the NFL, right? Right? You don't know what brands are going to be. You don't know what Boise State's going to be in there.
You might have more available eyes. More people are just at home.
Yeah.
More people are just willing or they've already been trained to be watching football on that day.
Yeah.
So maybe that's an avenue that you entertain.
Do you go where the eyeballs are? Or do you tell people where their eyeballs need to be?
We'll see. I wonder. But the data is in. And now we await their decision, which will definitely not be short-sighted. Definitely not be short-sighted.
I don't like the way you're saying that.
I mean, Nebrasketball is good. This decision definitely won't be short-sighted. Whatever they do.
Those sounded the same.
Leaving tens of million viewers on the table is something the college football playoff loves to do. Exactly. Thank you, Josh. All right, we'll come back. I want to talk about Creighton tonight. But before that, I have a trivia question for you all.
A trivia question?
Yes, Josh.
Wow.
Tell the people what they can win tonight.
A
Vanna?
4-pack of passes to tonight's Creighton game against Providence. Respect to Kim English.
Respect to Kim English and respect to the ghost of Ed Cooley.
That's right.
The real Ed Cooley is at Georgetown now.
That's right.
Creighton's not playing them tonight. Creighton plays at 7:30 tonight. They return. First game in 2025 of Creighton basketball anyway at the Chi. And you have an opportunity to go thanks to us. So call 402-951-1620 right now and be the first person to answer this very simple question. 402-951-1620 and answer this question. Ryan Kalkbrenner will extend his school record by doing what for the 150th time tonight against Providence? Once again, Ryan Kalkbrenner will extend his school record of this by doing what for the 150th time tonight against the Providence Friars? If you answer that question correctly and you're the first person to do so, you're going to the game tonight, courtesy of us. Josh will take your answers off the air, and we'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, I'm glad we did that off the air because it could have been, I don't know, it just could have gone on for a long time. All right. I know, I kind of miss the good old days of when people would come on the air and guess crazy things. Maybe we should have done it on the air.
There is, but there's a cap to that, right? Where like it's only funny.
It's like now I'm getting annoyed.
Yeah, the first 3 wrong answers are funny, and anything after that is like torture.
And so we got it on the what attempt?
I believe
Count all the other stuff.
Oh, okay. I believe it was the 6th or 7th time I picked up the phone,
because that would have happened.
That would have been part of it. Yes,
right. That would have happened, which is another.
You know,
reason
I'm going to put that on the list.
It's already on the list.
Oh, okay.
But you could put it on there too, just to drive
if more
home the
people
point.
say that it's. Okay.
So the question was, Ryan Kalkbrenner will extend his school record by doing what for the 150th time tonight against Providence? And the answer was, as correctly stated by Jake, who's going to the game tonight, courtesy of us, play in the game. Play.
That's it.
Play. That's right. Ryan Kalkbrenner will play in his 150th game in a Creighton uniform tonight.
I'm not doubting the stat and bookkeeping of Rob Anderson.
Why would you ever do that?
That sounds like a lot.
Now, I was surprised to learn. I took a peek at the all-time roster last night. Which, I mean, the stat keeping is incredible in the old media guide. So Doug McDermott and Jahins Manigat, who is now manager on Creighton's team, each played 145 games.
Wow.
Yeah. So Kalkbrenner has gone over that, and now he is the forever record holder of, unless they do the whole, like, you're eligible forever thing, which would make all of these points moot in the end. But right now, Ryan Kalkbrenner will be the leader. 150 games played tonight. Looks like Doug and Jahins each played 145 games in a Creighton uniform. So I was surprised to learn that they were even that close. Here's another Rob stat, by the way.
Hi, Rob.
If Ryan Kalkbrenner gets fouled twice tonight,
likely,
right? He usually absorbs fouls. He will have been fouled 500 times in his career.
That's a lot.
500 times. Hacked on the head, smacked across the arm, with the body, whatever you want to do.
That's 3 1/3 fouls a game.
If you did a supercut of all the times that Ryan Kalkbrenner got fouled, it would be horrifying. He's been through hell. He's puking. He's got the thing that nobody talks about.
But we will
eventually talk about. 500 times he will have been fouled. He will be honored before the game tonight for going over 2,000 points in his career. He's the 4th person to do that in school history. The others, I could have asked you this as a trivia question. The others being Doug McDermott, Rodney Buford, and Bob Harstad. The only other people who have gone over 2,000 points in a Creighton uniform.
It's always a Bob.
And now then I went deep into the logs. Ryan Kalkbrenner, currently the owner of 2,036 career points. He went over 2,000 in the Marquette game, which he'll get a nice basketball from Coach Mack tonight prior to the game. But you don't get a new basketball for getting 2,036.
His wife can put that somewhere on the mantle.
Wonder if they have like a tally or something like that. That's what he got the flannel for Christmas. At this moment, the owner of 2,036 career points, Ryan Kalkbrenner, has the same amount of points as the following people did in their college careers. Ready? This is just interesting trivia. It means nothing. Davidson's Jack Gibbs. Stick with me. That was the least interesting name on the list.
Okay.
There's 4 people sitting on this number. Kalkbrenner's one of them. Davidson's Jack Gibbs is another one. And 2 more. Bucknell's Mike Muscala.
Go Bison.
Mike Muscala was in the NBA for a long time. And UConn's Richard Hamilton.
Rip.
Mr. Rip himself. That's right. 2,036 career points. If he scores 1 point tonight, let's see. Who else? Who's gettable tonight for Ryan Kalkbrenner, just looking at this list? So what do you think? About 15, 18 points, something like that?
Yeah, don't predict too high.
So let's say 2,000. Let's say he gets up to 2,050 tonight.
Nice round number.
Oh, Isaiah Cannon, Murray State is on the list. That's a name. Yeah, you don't want to go too high after that. Some people he could pass tonight. Dan Marley. Thunder Dan. He could go above Thunder Dan Marley tonight if he just scores 9 points.
Oh, okay.
Temple's Deontay Christmas with just 7. That's just a name of a guy named Christmas that I really like. 2,000 points is kind of an elite territory. There's not very many. Only 596 people have scored the amount of points that Ryan Kalkbrenner have had in college basketball history or more. Ryan Kalkbrenner, notably, not known for scoring very many points. He's not known for his point scoring, is what I should say. Anyway, congratulations to Jake, who is going to the game tonight. As Jeff writes in, and it is definitely true, none of those guys played 5 years except for Ryan Kalkbrenner. I know. That's the hilarious part about all of this. He's going to go over all these school records and career records and all of these things. And it's just going to be like, whoa, that's nuts. He would have had a great career if it would have ended at the end of last year. But now he's going to have like an elite Creighton career. Certainly. He'll get his jersey retired at the end of all this, or in 5 years or in 10 years or whenever they decide to do it. I don't think anybody will wear 11 again. But like the longer Creighton plays this year, the more his career looks elite in longevity nationally.
Right.
Like, there's going to be very few people who are going to, well, he's got 2,000 whatever points. He's got, X amount of blocks, and he's a school record holder and all these things, and rebounds, and he's been fouled a billion times, and he's had 1,000 injuries, and he was the 4-time Big East player, defensive player of the year, and he was the Big East player of the year, and he was an All-American X amount of like, that's a lot of stuff at the end of the day, right? So it'll be good to honor, right? Take a moment and honor Ryan Kalkbrenner tonight. John emails in.
Hi, John.
I thought Kalkbrenner's record was going to be how many times he ran up and down the court looking like a baby giraffe. But I guess Creighton has never had another player who had done that 149 times.
It's a lot of time. That's pretty good.
Jake writes in.
Hi, Jake.
Yeah, but Kalkbrenner is just tall. And the only other reason he's getting all these records is because he's played in the Big East for 14 years. Am I right? I think that was sarcastic. You were not right.
Seems like it.
He is not just tall. He is tall. That is certainly one of his qualities.
He has a lot of sicknesses.
What do you mean?
Just
over his career, he's been ill.
He leads the league in sickness. Well, no, Ashworth leads the league.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know if you counted all their college pukes together. That's a great question. I might try to get them both tonight and just ask them off to the side. Now, can you count the amount of times in your college careers that you've puked? And how many is it, and which one wins? Because I'd like to know the answer.
Also, has Scott Frost reached out to both of you and said, "Hey, you're doing great. Keep it up." That's the sign of a winner.
Douglas writes in, bag takes Doug.
Hi, Douglas.
Next year is going to be sad when Chuck Brenner, which I don't even know what that means. Does that mean he chucks? Like puke Brenner? Oh, that's actually kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like I thought you meant like shot chucker.
I thought so too.
Is gone from the Blue Jays, and the 16-20 guys can't say his name 500 times every day. I don't think that we do that. I actually think that we don't talk about him enough for how awesome of a player he's been throughout his entire career for a very good basketball team that's won many, many games.
In the tournament.
That is my personal opinion. Yes, notably in the tournament, Josh. Thank you for mentioning that part.
It feels important.
The winningest Creighton basketball player in terms of NCAA tournament wins ever. And that is still with potentially one to play. Creighton and Providence tonight at 7:30. Pre-games at 6 o'clock here in 1620 The Zone, right after Unsportsmanlike Conduct. John and Taylor Stormberg will take over at 7 from the Chai. Very important game for Creighton in the sense that they need to win.
TCB. This is a TCB game.
What's that mean?
Taking care of business. You're a 9.5-point favorite at home. This is a TCB game. Can't lose.
Okay, so what's the difference between a TCB and a gimme?
There are not a lot of gimmies in conference.
Like when you say it's a gimme, when you say it's a TCB game, taking care of business game, I think like, oh, it's a given that they're going to win. Just go out and take care of business. I don't believe that.
If we're doing the hierarchy, it would be gimme. Just above that, TCB.
Okay. As long as you're not saying it's a gimme.
I am not saying it is a gimme.
Okay. Not a gimme.
Respect
it's a
Kim
TCB.
English.
Go out, respect Kim English, and take care of business. Yeah. I'm with you on that. I will sign on the dotted line.
English. Defeat the English. We did it once. We'll do it again, damn it.
It's always tough against Providence. And history suggests that Creighton will always play an overtime game with Providence.
Oh, no.
At least once a year. They've done it for each of the last 2 years. So I don't know. Colin writes in.
Hi, Colin.
Oh, Colin in White Plains. Actually, I haven't heard from him in a while. On the Equitable Bank inbox, knowing what we know now, and Creighton on a path to the NIT.
Not true.
I would be careful about that.
Lenardi has them as the last team in as of this morning.
Do you feel that Ryan Kalkbrenner is regretting coming back? I know he must have gotten a good NIL deal, but putting an extra year of wear and tear on his legs without a ton of success, losing to the Big Red without earning professional league money has got to be a bitter pill to swallow. Oh, I don't think so. I think that's a lot of assumptions. I think it's a lot of. I mean, like,
I think the question.
First of all,
fair.
like, I think he's going to go to the NCAA. I think this team ultimately will make the NCAA tournament.
Lenardi has them playing today. Dayton.
So I don't think they're on that path. And no, like, I don't think so. And I think he loves it here. And
does his wife love it here?
Yes. Also a former Creighton student athlete.
Happy wife, happy life.
Indeed.
Am I right, fellas?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I don't think so at all. 1 year different, like, and he had to, and his thing was, Mac's thing was with him, like, okay, you can come back, great, we'd love to have you, but you have to understand that it's going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think diversifying his game a little bit, adding more to it. He's shot the three better, more consistently this year. He's gotten more diverse in post moves and things that he's able to do on the offensive side as an offensive player. He has to, because Creighton needs him to carry scoring load this year. I think that's beneficial to his game and worth the year of coming back.
And what does Mac always say? You don't mess with happy.
You don't mess with happy.
If you like it here,
got an opportunity, come on back.
Stay as long as you can. Cherish it.
Cherish it. All right, we'll be back with good friend Jacob Bigelow. Talk some Huskers, some hoops, and plenty more coming up on 1620 The Zone.
heating up.
That's the country song, right? Remember when?
Thank you.
Jacob Bigelow.
Yeah. Whenever my open is concocted, throw that in there.
He's on fire.
Jacob Bigelow, Huskers Illustrated, on the Connor Happer Show, on 1620, The Zone.
Boom shakalaka.
All right, hate to start this off this way, but officially announced by the University of Nebraska, Allison Widener is out for the remainder of the season yet again. Her third consecutive season come to a premature end. She suffered an injury on practice on Saturday. So before we get to Jacob here once again, Widener returned to the court as a starter in Nebraska's season-opening victory against Omaha after missing 55 consecutive regular season games over the last 2 years, and then played in however many they played this year, minus maybe one or two, and then now is out again. Sucks. Sorry. And now we bring in Jacob Bigelow of Huskers Illustrated. And of the Stretch Big Pod. Sorry, Jacob, but that is the news. Hello.
Yeah, and I'll just open with this. I mean, I feel like the word heartbreaking is an understatement. Talking about Allison Widener, everything she's been through. I mean, when you talk to people around that program, they just talk about how great of a teammate she is, great of a person she is off the court. Her basketball journey has definitely been one filled with adversity, but all that anyone can do is wish her the best, in her recovery once again. And it's just really unfortunate for that to happen to her, and the injury luck in that program. And there's just something. I mean, there's always, I feel like there's just one. There's always some form of heartbreak with that program, and now it's happened twice just this season, and it just really stings.
Yep, well said. We'll see what happens with her next, but not going to play the remainder of this season. Okay, Jacob Bigelow joins us. Let's talk about Nebraska men's basketball, who has now lost 2 in a row. Jacob, you have to answer for yourself, because I don't want to stick takes in your mouth, but you did say something like this, that you thought, what was it? If they were going to win one last week, it would be against Purdue, not Iowa. Is that right?
Something along those lines. I liked the matchup on paper with Purdue more than the matchup with Iowa. Just given the way that the two teams played, I think I'm officially going to retire from saying I like matchups on paper for this Nebraska team, because the 2 times that I've openly said it to large audiences this season, they've lost by 37 and they've lost by 36. So I clearly am washed. I think that is my biggest takeaway. I am washed. I need to get back in the lab, reevaluate some things before I declare that I like the way a matchup looks on paper.
Okay. So in order to do that, in order to predict that you like matchups on paper, you have to have a certain amount of trust in a team that they will do the things that they generally do on a game in, game out basis, right? Like that, when you say that you like the matchup, you're expecting a certain level of play, right? It's the same thing as it's been for Nebraska football over the last several years. Like, I don't mind the matchup, but I can't really trust them to do that on a game in, game out basis, so they become difficult to predict. I would say that over the last couple of years that we've generally come to trust Nebraska basketball. But when it's bad, it's so bad. And I don't know what to do with that, Jacob. Like, I don't know what to do with that going forward, because I generally trust them, but when it's bad, it's bad.
Yeah, I'm definitely right there with you. There have been, just moments like, that Purdue game, you know what you're walking into Mackey Arena. You heard it for however many days after how that game at Iowa went, and it looked like they didn't even get off the bus. The effort was, the biggest thing about that Purdue game for me was the effort, was the way it looked. I mean, back-to-back games where, if you want to be this gritty, grimy defense team, and you're a step slow on defense, and you're not, closing out hard, and guys like Fletcher Lawyer are getting uncontested, wide open threes. I mean, that's kind of a recipe for for disaster, in my opinion. And it just, I'm kind of right there with you. They have these moments where you want to trust everything about them, their identity, their effort, their intensity, and then days like Sunday happen.
Yeah. Well, so then the next question that we're all trying to figure out is why? What leads to it? And the consistent thing with basically all of those losses and all of the WTF games, for lack of a better word, is that they're on the road. And so then it is, okay, why can't they be consistent and bring that defense with them on the road? The phrase defense travels is generally true, but in some extreme cases, it's not true for Nebraska. Why does this happen more often than you want it to for Nebraska basketball?
Yeah, I don't have a good answer. I think if I did have a good answer, I would either be taking clients or I'd still be in coaching, because I think it's definitely a very mental thing. Everything that goes into going on the road, the travel, the change in your routine, gyms and sight lines, that's more offense than defense. But I mean, there's a lot more mental that goes into playing on the road, and that's well above my pay grade when talking about this group. But that is definitely the common denominator, is playing on the road and just being Jekyll and Hyde between PBA and playing on the road, especially in the Big Ten. I mean, they've got the one true road win in Omaha this season, which they treat like a road game. They spend the night in Omaha the night before. They take the bus up the day before. They treat it like a road game, and they won that. But the two biggest WTF games are 35+ point losses on the road in the conference.
Let me bounce this off of you, and feel free to agree or disagree. I don't know if you've thought this while watching them this year, but I think more so maybe even than here's what we are at home and here's what we are on the road, and these things tend to happen on the road. If you deleted that out and you attached it to whether they get off to a good start or not, now what would be the consistency rate of that? UCLA game got off to a horrible start, but they were at home and they responded. And so maybe the theory isn't completely airtight, but it does feel like this team oftentimes needs to feel good about itself in the first 8 to 10 minutes. Otherwise, it's big trouble.
Yeah, I kind of alluded to something like that on the post-game show on Sunday that I did. I said, this team, it feels like that, Fred Hoiberg, I feel like since he's got here, has talked about the importance of a good start and the importance of landing the first punch. And this team, in the games where they have landed the first punch, have looked their best. That Creighton game, for example, the Indiana game in Lincoln. I mean, they're the games where they've come out and they threw the first punch, landed it. Those have been their best performances of the season. But when they are battling a little bit of adversity out of the gate, and they got to, get up off the mat, per se. We're going to use all the boxing, metaphors here. When they've got to, get up off the mat and fight back, that's where it's kind of been the struggle bus for them, and then some.
Jacob Bigelow's with us from Huskers Illustrated, also the Stretch Big Pod, also hosting various pods everywhere after the game, after Nebrasketball as well. You can find him pretty much anywhere these days, as well as right here on the show right now. What do we do with What do we do with the Bryce Williams, I don't want to say the last couple games, because he made a game-tying 3 to send it to overtime at Iowa and had 28 points. Like that's a pretty good game. But my thing with the alpha dog is I don't want that guy to ever be able to really sink into the background. And it feels like at times he kind of sinks into the background. How do we evaluate what Bryce Williams has given them or not given them over the last week and a half here?
Yeah, I think on Sunday that was the most flustered I've seen him in his 2 seasons, at Nebraska. And he was being defended. They were playing him physical. They were getting, they were playing him physical for sure. But it was guys that were a lot shorter than him, and he was just generally, flustered, and that surprised me. There were a lot of, there are a lot of possessions where it was being guarded by a true freshman. He's a 6th-year, old head who's been through it and then some in college basketball. It is a weird conundrum. It's been an interesting thing with him. I mean, even last year, people were like, he never shows any emotion. Why is he so emotionless? And there's always been some interesting narratives around Bryce. And whenever there's this is a very specific reference that some people may remember and some people might not. Connor, the 17-18 Nebraska team, the head coach at that time, said that he had a bunch of cool guys and didn't have any killers. Remember that?
Oh, I sure do. Yes, I indeed do, Jacob.
And I get similar vibe with this group this season, and that's not a bad thing. That is not a shot at anyone on that roster, anyone in that program. But I kind of had that thought pop into my head recently. When talking about a bunch of cool guys, the difference between cool guys and killers, and that whole thing came flashing back to me a little bit.
I wonder with Bryce, because sometimes I look at sometimes I watch him and the way he interacts with his teammates and his demanding or lack of demanding of the ball or whatever it might be, and I think, I know I know this. I know he's not vocal. He's not a vocal leader. He's whatever the exact opposite of that is. But I do think he has a little bit of the killer, whatever it might be, instinct.
Oh, absolutely, yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I Bryce is an interesting case where you feel like with a guy like you don't want it to be a game by game thing. But generally, I would say more often than not, Bryce has been like the consistent, steadying force on the team, which is good enough in my mind.
Definitely, but then that just becomes, one of my 3 biggest questions before the season with this group is like, who are your second and third options, and are they going to be consistent second and third options, and then in the scoring column, and that's been become pretty evident in some of these recent games. That's a pretty big question mark. I think they know the guys who they want them to be, but those guys have not shown much of any consistency on offense.
How big is Thursday at home against Rutgers for Nebraska basketball?
It's way bigger than it should be. It definitely, feels that way. Rutgers, will be coming in off of a win over UCLA last night. The Fighting Cronins have now lost 4 in a row since they got up to number 15 in the AP poll. That tells you how much the AP poll means in January.
They're also UCLA, by the way, also 4 for 4 in like post-game Mick Cronin things. There's something every game now.
There is something every game. It was, get your popcorn ready for the Mick Cronin post-game experience last night in Piscataway. But it feels oddly big. Rutgers, they're kind of the story with them is they've got 2 really good, highly touted blue chip guys, and Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. But what else do they have other than that? They got a good performance out of Jeremiah Williams last night, who's probably the most stereotypical Rutgers player left on that roster. It's a bunch of weird pieces surrounding Harper and Bailey, but it feels like a pretty big game. 8:00 tip. Going to be. I'm interested to see what the environment's like coming off the Purdue result. 8:00 tip weeknight. There are a lot of different variables at play, and it feels oddly significant, especially before a trip out east on the weekend to go to College Park.
I'll say this: I'd rather have Rutgers in mid-January than late February, because that just feels like a team that's going to eventually fall into whatever it is and get comfortable, and at that point they get a little scary. At the end of the day, it might be too little too late for them, but playing them right now is maybe a little bit of a break for Nebraska, and especially at home.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm interested to see, how they defend, the 2 freshmen. Ace Bailey is gonna, he's gonna be listed as like their 4, but he's not a big. He's basically a 6'10" guard. He's gonna take a ton of shots. I'm interested to see how they match up with him. And then Dylan Harper, he had a pretty good game last night, and when he's on, he is, they're both must watch TV. I mean, there's going to be 3 of the top 5 picks in the next NBA draft, most likely, coming through Pinnacle Bank Arena before the end of January.
Crazy, but this also might be one of Rutgers' worst teams recently. It's odd to kind of square those things up. All right, Jacob. It's a big day on Thursday for Nebraska, and then they'll go back on the road to the East Coast to Maryland on Sunday. Appreciate the time as always, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Appreciate the time like always. I guess I'll see you tonight, Connor, but...
Oh, Mr. Basketball. You can't keep him out of the gym, can you?
No, you cannot. They can't keep me away. So I'll see you tonight, but I appreciate the time like always. Have a good show. Good rest of the week, guys.
Yep. See you later. That's Jacob Bigelow of Huskers Illustrated. Stretch Big Pod, doing pods after the game with Jack and Caleb. He's everywhere. He's talking. He's talking about the hoops. Yeah. He's on the Connor Happer track of doing stuff all the time.
It's a good track. Solid.
Could be overwhelming at times.
Between
it's a burden
you
of
and
responsibility,
him,
Josh.
There, so many people don't have jobs because of the 2 of you.
I don't know. I don't think that's true. Sometimes you only need 1 man for 3 jobs. The jobs are that easy.
One of those jobs was created for you.
Yes. Right.
I said, we just got to work this guy in somehow. We'll do anything.
All right. We'll talk more about it tomorrow and Thursday, but pretty big one for Nebraska basketball. Got to find a way to get that bad taste out of your mouth, but also the wins themselves are important. And defending home court and, taking what would be a quad 2-ish loss at home, or 3. That'd be bad. Wouldn't be good for them.
No, this is a get right game on ladies' night.
Oh, it's a get right game for them too. I like how you label things, Josh. Okay, it's a get right game for Nebraska on Thursday.
Get right game. It's ladies'
Not
night.
a gimme.
Not a gimme.
Not a gimme. Get right game.
Yeah. There's
okay. So you're categorizing
gimme, a TCB. Get right is probably one step above TCB.
Creighton, Providence, Rutgers, Nebraska. Handshake meme? Same thing?
Well, I mean, it's not ladies' night tonight at the Chai.
But
there is no black ice air freshener giveaway.
TCB and get right. Are they the same?
They're not but they're like adjacent to each other.
They're on the same plane, but they're not the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Not really.
Yeah, the ball knowers in the audience know what I'm talking about.
You guys get it out there. I know you guys know ball. All right. A couple more things to hit before we get out of here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. All right, I was looking for stuff to talk about last night. Just kind of searching around, checking the blogs, checking the sports websites.
Did you check the wires?
Check the wires, all of the places that you check. Some of the ideas, they come from your head, and some of the ideas, they kind of just write themselves.
Sure, okay.
So I stumbled upon a story that's been ongoing for a while now. Do you remember Jonte Porter? Jonte Porter, the brother of Michael Porter.
He got suspended for gambling.
He got kicked out for gambling.
Yes.
He was.
They said you are not famous enough to stay.
Exiled.
You don't work here anymore.
He was sent away. They said, no. You cannot play in the NBA anymore. The evidence is too damning. Well, the evidence is beginning to come out, Josh.
Okay.
And you know what they say about the evidence as it pertains to these gambling situations. What have we experienced in our lifetime? We had the Alabama coach. He was texting the guy who was like, listen, I got one. It can't lose.
No, you have to let me bet this.
So
I got a hot tip.
What's the thing that we've learned in all these gambling cases? The details are always funny.
Yes.
So I figured we'd put that to the test in the Jonte Porter case.
Okay. Now, what is about to happen, I want to let the audience in, is not a bit. I don't know what Connor is about to say.
I'm just going to.
I did not dig through the message boards and all that to find out what Jonte Porter was betting on.
There's always one. I
bet on myself to have 5 boards.
Okay. So I'm just going to read this to you. Okay. Former Toronto Raptors forward Jonte Porter texted a co-conspirator in his gambling case during an NBA game to provide inside information.
Not great.
All right. We start there. That information comes after the arrest of Shane Hennon, who was another alleged co-conspirator in the scheme, on Sunday. Porter received a lifetime ban in the NBA for a scheme that involved bettors placing large prop bets on Porter's statistics in 2 known games, a January 26th matchup against the Clippers and a March 20th matchup against the Kings. In both instances, there was abnormal betting volume on the under in multiple statistical categories for Porter.
Oh, no.
And guess what? Porter was removed from both of those games early. In the Clippers game, it was due to an eye injury. In the Kings game, it was because of an illness.
Oh, no.
Hennon was the 5th co-conspirator arrested in this case outside of Porter. And he received a screenshot of the text from Porter from a different co-conspirator the next day. That text was apparently sent from the Raptors locker room during the game on January 22nd.
Yikes.
Porter was taken to the locker room to have his eye examined and sent a text saying he didn't expect to play more in that game, a game he started. He did note, under certain circumstances, he would attempt to post statistics. Quote, are you ready? Here's the money line.
Oh, God help me.
This is the text from Jonte Porter to one of the co-conspirators as he had left the game due to injury. Quote, but if it's garbage time, I will shoot 1,000,000 shots. He said, I'm probably not going to go back in the game, although I might under certain circumstances. If it's garbage time, I will shoot 1,000,000 shots.
I'm still a chucker.
Just so you're aware, I don't think I'm going to go back into this game, but if I do and the game's out of hand, I'm going to shoot that thing.
Jonte's going to get his shot up. We're going to run the Bel Air prep offense, and I'm Will Smith.
According to the court documents, Porter told 2 others involved in the scheme before the January 26th game that he would remove himself from the game that night with the eye injury. That information was allegedly shared with the guy who got arrested on Sunday and led to a wager of $3,700 being put on Porter to record fewer than 4.5 rebounds.
So yeah,
gonna catch some eyes.
That would probably raise a red flag at the FanDuel offices or wherever your sports book of choice is.
I think you're right, Josh. I think you're right.
$3,000 on Jonte Porter
under rebounds.
What are we doing?
Under rebounds. Hennon, the guy who got arrested on Sunday, was also allegedly informed of Porter's plans to remove himself from the game on March 20th. He received information ahead of the March 20th game that Porter would again pull himself from the game. Hennon, prosecutors allege, was asked not to leak this information, but prosecutors believe that he did tell others ahead of the game. Hennon ultimately bet $2,400 that Porter would not reach the over-under for points in that game. Porter played 3 minutes in that game and had no points, no assists, and 2 rebounds and left.
Yikes. That's
yeah.
I mean, there's a
this
clear
is,
ABC.
This is not funny for the record.
No,
but
no.
once again, it's not the betting, and it's not the co-conspirating, and it's not the text messages. It's always the stupidity for me. That's what we're laughing at, the stupidity. Now, to be fair to Jonte, to be fair to Jonte, he at least went through proxies and other people, and now at the same time, so he wasn't as obvious as he could have been, but he did send a text from the locker room to one of these people during the game.
Yeah.
So yeah,
got a hot tip.
Yeah. Porter was banned from the NBA for life when news of the scandal broke. And he's already pled guilty to wire fraud conspiracy in this case. He is set to be sentenced in May, and that sentence could range from no prison to up to 20 years, with the estimated sentencing guideline suggesting that 41 to 51 months is the likeliest outcome.
That's a big range.
41 to 51 months. Also, since this whole incident, the NBA quietly revised its policy regarding cell phone usage during games, which was a good idea by them.
Yes. Random question. Not sure if you have the answer to it.
Go for it.
I assume this is all taking place in an American court system?
I would assume so too, although he did play for the Raptors.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I was just curious.
Is it worse to go to Canadian jail?
I mean, Canadian jail is probably better, right?
Poll question?
We don't have one of those today. Which jail is better?
Which would you rather go to?
Okay.
American jail or Canadian jail? And people are just going to say, well, it depends on the crime.
I don't know that it does.
I'm just saying generally, you've committed a general crime. Okay. You are going to jail. Would you rather go to American jail or Canadian jail? I don't know the answer to that question.
That is up at Happer Show.
Thank God. We finally got a poll question.
Yeah.
Anyway, shout out to Jonte for the stupidity, and all his co-conspirators for also the stupidity. And I'm glad that Josh didn't know one single detail before going into that.
I saw this on the prep sheet last night, and I said, "Okay."
I don't know why.
That's the one. I gotta stay away from that.
I click on these every time. If you want an easy.
Normally I would have.
You want an easy click from me? It's. Oh look, there's Tom Brenneman. It's wow. He did this. Is this the Bartman game?
1:30, yes, sir.
Tom Brenneman did the Bartman game.
Stands to reason, right?
He is not on this panel.
Oh, really?
Interestingly enough. But there's my dear friend, Jack McKeon. Anyway, I'm going to click on this every time. If you're giving me details of how the player or the coach or whatever who got kicked out of whatever league he's in conspired to gamble on or against his own team, every time. It's an easy click. I have to have the details. because they're never not stupid. They're never not funny. And so this goes back to the age-old thing. Like, people are going to ask based off of this, oh, well, we have to put more rules in place, so we have to make it harder for these people to do this. No, we have to get rid of stupidity. And that is very hard. That is very hard. Generations and generations have tried to get rid of stupidity, and we have failed.
Yeah, because the NBA says you can't text during games right now. Okay, he's just going to arrange this before the game.
Once again,
hey, take my under tonight. My stomach doesn't feel good. You know what I mean?
Part of the training on this should be to drill into everyone's heads. You will get caught. You will not get away with this. You can bet $1, and you might think it doesn't matter. It will matter. You can't do it. You're not allowed, and you will get caught. They will prosecute you they should put a sign on all the locker rooms. I'm sure they have that. But you know how they say, do not trespass, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, or do not park here, you will get towed. Like, those signs scare me. Seriously. Those signs scare me. If there's a threat of me getting towed, I am not parking there.
Yeah, I don't want.
There is no chance. I don't want that smoke.
I don't want to get towed.
Absolutely not. Do not want that in my life. Hashtag from Bad Takes, Doug, end stupidity.
Now that's a good take.
It's
Surely
It's going to be hard, but this is what we need to do. End stupidity.
Yeah, I mean, you got to say, hey, look, we're the Toronto Raptors. We're a middling franchise now. There is no one in the room famous enough to get away with this.
Nobody. Period. Nobody exists. Unless you're Michael Jordan. But that's a different conspiracy theory.
That cost him something else. Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Different conspiracy theory. All right, we're back with the polls. We'll tell you what to watch. Next on 1620 The Zone. Alex writes in on YouTube.
Hello, Alex. Glad to have you in the
one...
YouTube chat.
All right, Josh. You didn't drag it out that much.
I'm not dragging anything out. I'm welcoming Alex to the chat.
I'll let you finish all the sentences that you have. So if you need to get anything out this segment, you feel free.
Okay.
Alex writes, put your stickers on your plates or we will fine you to the fullest extent of the law. City of Lincoln. That would have worked.
What is the status of your appeal?
Thank you for asking.
Pending?
Thank you for asking. No, Josh, a decision has been reached.
Oh, wow. Very quick for local government. Okay.
I won.
You beat City Hall?
I won.
Connor Happer!
Thank you. I deserved to win, for the record. My KenPom War rating was way higher.
You beat City Hall.
I won.
That never happens. There's a phrase about that.
I'm Walter White. Walt, what happened? A nursing home just blew up. I won. That's what happened.
Wow, you really won?
I won.
Did they tell you anything about it, or did
They
just
said
rule?
you won. They said
okay.
Well, you know what? Let me go to the email. When
I don't know if it was like, well, in finding evidence that yes, you should have been granted more time because it was the 4th of January or something like that. I don't know.
They sent me an email that said the city attorney's office reviewed your appeal of the citation noted below and has approved the request.
Okay.
Thank you, city attorney's office. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Then I paid the parking ticket, which I deserved, the $10 parking ticket, which I deserved. And now I am in no debt to the city of Lincoln.
So you can go back.
I may go back. Yeah. Because the threat was if I didn't pay that, if I didn't pay the fine of $100, which I appealed and won, then the next time they would have caught me in a parking spot illegally, they would have booted me.
The boot.
Now that would have been a deterrent.
Wow.
The boot is a deterrent. It's not necessarily the boot. It's the process that you have to go through to get the boot off. A guy has to come and remove the boot, at which point you're a laughingstock of the entire town.
You gotta lean up against the outside of your car until that boot guy shows up.
Yes, and we're on boot guy's time at that point. It could be years, months, who knows?
Alex with an interesting follow-up in the chat.
But I won. Thank you. What's Alex saying?
I don't. Do you have an in at City Hall? Is that why you won?
No.
Okay.
No, it was an inappropriate.
Just checking.
I mean, it wasn't an inappropriate ticket. Like if I'm the ticket guy and you're told, all right, I have to get as a parking person, you now have to give tickets to people who don't have their registration paid. Period.
Letter of the law.
Letter of the law.
law.
Letter of the law. Absolutely, I deserved it. But spirit of the law, no chance. Because I had paid my registration, it was 4 days. I hadn't put my stickers on yet. Now, if they sent me a big sign, and I'm talking about bold letters in the mail with my registration that said, if you don't put this right now, we'll kill you or we'll send you to jail. That would have done it. There needs to be real consequences for this because I felt no urgency to put the stickers on because I drive around town and I see people with two plates ago.
Yeah.
How is this possible that they still have the orange and black plates with the cranes on them?
That's the exact one I was thinking of.
2006.
How you running around with that plate on?
And yet they just live.
Not a care in the world either. They don't care.
Cops go by and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?
How you doing?
Have a good day."
You hear Duncan's got no donuts?
All right, that's stereotyping, John.
They don't have any donuts.
I know they don't.
What? How are we out of donuts?
I don't know. It's a great question. Dunkin' Donuts, really? Poll question 1 at Happer Show. Which would you rather go to, American jail or Canadian jail?
Pretty sure it's Canadian jail.
I am an American, so I'd rather go to American jail.
Wow. Buy local.
84% say Canadian jail. Early returns on that one.
Sure.
Josh, what are we watching tonight?
We are watching college basketball. The Friars are in town to take on our beloved Creighton Blue Jays. 7:30 tip on FS1. Villanova Xavier beforehand, so watch for the slide. Watch for the slide. Nothing to say on the slide? Okay.
I'm anti-slide.
Well, okay, good take.
I am anti-slide.
Shoot around.
I just don't want that spoken into existence. That's all. But I know it's coming.
Shoot around begins on 1620 The Zone at 6 p.m. Big night in the SEC. 3 ranked versus ranked matchups, all on weird television networks because that weirdo golf league is on ESPN.
Yeah, they keep promoting this too.
Because they've invested in it. And
I don't know what it is. I don't want to watch simulator golf.
It's a boondoggle. That's what it is. Number 15, Mississippi State is at number 1, Auburn. 6 o'clock tonight on SEC Network, as God intended. Number 21, Ole Miss at number 4, Alabama. 6 o'clock on ESPNU. At that same 6 o'clock time on ESPN2, it is number 11, Texas A&M at number 8, Kentucky. Number 19, Illinois is at Indiana in Big Ten basketball, 6 o'clock on Peacock. If you don't have Peacock, you're against Peacock. You can listen to it on 1180 if you so choose. Coverage begins there at 5:45. Iowa at USC, 9:30 on FS1. One women's game of note tonight, number 24, Minnesota at number 8, Maryland, 6 o'clock on BTN. NBA doubleheader on TNT, True TV, and Max. Cavs at the Pacers, 6 o'clock, followed by Nuggets, Connor.
Go
and the
Nuggets.
Dallas Mavericks at 8:30. Hockey on Hulu. Panthers are in New Jersey to take on the Devils.
Watch out for them Devil now.
6:30 puck drop there. And finally,
3-time Stanley Cup champion since 1991.
Florida Panthers have one since
They do
as well.
Well, much more recently.
Much more recently. Peacock has a documentary. It appears to be one part, which is probably good. Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, chronicles Sean Combs' early years and features interviews with childhood friends, a former bodyguard, and musician Al B. Sure.
You know what I'd rather do than watch that, Josh?
Anything else? Oh.
In the cold. I want to kill myself, jump in the cold and die of frostbite.
Which you have the opportunity to do by just walking outside.
Right. Gonna be cold. But if you get through today, got 2 good ones behind it.
Yeah. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Josh, thanks.
Thank you, Connor.
So we're watching tonight. That's the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Time for the crossover. And by the way, the Bartman game is currently being watched by us, but like in parts by Bob Costas and Tom Verducci and Jack McKeon and Mike Lowell and some other guy. But John's not here. He's going to be in jail in downtown Omaha at the Chai. And so we'll have to update him on all things that are happening in the Bartman game, which he's certainly never seen before. The crossover's next on 1620 The Zone.
Crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover.
It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. John?
Connor.
That works.
What about my microphone? Oh, there we go.
Josh?
What's up, Happer?
This is great. It
Wow.
works, and it's good.
This is awesome.